Let's get nasty on Wednesday. It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN 202. Your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. With Andrew Marsh and Carey Davis, I'm Anthony Stalter, and right before we came on, I don't know if it was somebody on the text line, Marsh, or was it somebody in the snake pit?
The snake pits. Jeremy Hodge, 5986. I've heard enough trade talk for one day.
Sorry about it.
So we lead off our show with a little trade talk. Where do you guys stand on a possible Blues fire sale? We want your mic drops on this. So leave us a Scott Lee Heating Company mic drop if you would be so kind. That's via the Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's 101 ESPN mobile app. So just go to the mobile app, click on the mic drop feature, leave us a mic drop. Simple question. A lot of different ways people can go with this, though. Where do you stand on a possible Blues fire sale? We want to define fire sale. We'll do it as such. Guys like Jordan Binnington. Guys like Robert Thomas, if he's willing to waive the no trade clause. Guys like, I don't know. Throw out somebody else there, Marsh.
Justin Falk.
Justin Falk for sure.
Braden Shen.
Braden
Colton
Shen's a good
Parayko.
one. Yep, okay.
Heard that name earlier.
Anybody is available for the right price.
I guess the question should be, where do you stand and what sort of fire sale are you good with? Because we got some text messages yesterday from people that were like, yo, why would you trade a top center, your top center, when you're eventually trying to get better? How much sense does that make? And Carey and Marsh, I feel like we're all on the same page with this. You do so because you can't win with the current core you have, so you need to dangle your biggest trade chip in order to get a haul so that you can build a new core. Because what you have seen is not working. This collection of talent has not become a team. That's the way I would say that, Carey. This collection of talent has not turned into a team. So what do you do about it? Do you continue to make small, little tinkering moves, hoping that it one day comes to fruition? Or do you take the hammer and break things down and rebuild? So we want your mic drops on that. Where do you stand on a possible Blues fire sale? For you, Carey, I feel like you and I are on the same page.
Man, let's do it. And no offense to anybody that that could get traded. I'll say it again. I like to repeat myself. Never a proponent of people losing their jobs or being traded. That is a hard part of the sports world. You're getting paid millions. Shut up. Sorry, I had to get that out the way because somebody will say it. It's still a life-altering event to be cut or be traded and having to move to a different city and play for a different team and all of the things that come with getting a new job, Anthony. Let's just say that because it is indeed a job.
Yes, sir.
I know most people don't think it is, but it is a job. It's what you do for a living. And if you were to be uprooted from your job today, if your boss came in and said, hey, just traded you to Montreal. See ya.
Yeah.
Good knowing you. Excuse me? What do you mean?
Come again?
But I got to do what? Yeah, traded you to Vancouver. See ya.
Good luck.
Good luck. Wish you the best.
See the traveling secretary in the hallway. She'll get you taken care of.
It's a lot. With that being said, being in a position that the Blues are in year after year after year, it feels like, to me, you cannot continue to run it back. I feel like you've tried this. You've tried different variations. You tried Jakub Vrana and Kasperi Kapanen, and you tried Kevin Hayes. You brought in some veterans. You brought in some guys with some checker pass. Okay, maybe a new leash on life. Okay, that didn't work. All right, you know what we're going to do? We're going to go bring in two really young guys that are really good players. We steal them from Edmonton. We'll bring them in. Okay, still not work. Okay, we got some young Snuggeroo. Come on, Dalibor. Come on. We'll try. Okay. You know what? Man, somehow, some way, even with new players added to the core group in different varieties. We've brought in old players. We've brought in second chance players. We've brought in new guys. We've brought in stud, young first-round draft pick guys from another organization, and we're still here? Damn it, man.
What the F?
What are we doing?
Yeah.
What do we... Oh, you know what we should do? We got... Samsonite. That's it. You got to figure it out. You figured it out. And so you're looking at what has been constant amongst all the change. The things that are constant are the things that maybe you need to look at changing.
Yeah.
And that to me is, if I'm in the front office, that's probably how I'm looking at this. I got to change that because I've changed everything else around that. And that's the only way, in my opinion, that would be the only way that I give my team a chance to be better.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you. Marshy?
I do think it is the right move because, like Carey just mentioned, this group they haven't done it, right? They haven't done it. I think I'm disappointed post Stanley Cup win on how the direction of this franchise has gone.
Of course.
I'm very disappointed.
Sure.
And
why wouldn't you be?
I think I would have liked to see better players surrounding the players that we deem to be the core right now. I think that they have shown that they're not good enough as a group to ultimately get to where we need them to be, where they would like to be. But I do think that they haven't been surrounded by the best cast. I really do. So I find the whole thing to be disappointing. If you can get the right people back, then I would consider it a win. But who knows, right? You ended up giving a lot of these guys no trade clauses.
Right.
So they sort of dictate the direction of your franchise moving forward.
Sure.
I think the whole thing has just been very disappointing, especially when the team down the road has been also very disappointing. I thought that the Blues could be a beacon of hope for the fans here in St. Louis, and honestly, they've been the exact opposite of that this season. They were unable to capitalize on the momentum that they had after last year. It was a disappointing into the season last year, but I think we were all proud of what they accomplished to get to the playoffs, and they have not taken the ball and ran with it. They've gone in the complete opposite direction, and that is frustrating.
Sure.
Very disappointing. But a lot of people out there, despite them winning those 12 games and having a good month, I don't know if this is truly the right group of players. I don't know. Maybe this is sort of lightning in a bottle for a couple of months. And that was the rest of the tenure was the true team. And they got hot for a stretch of hockey.
Sure.
And we've talked about that multiple times throughout the year.
Yeah, that was the exception to the rule in the case of these Blues.
I just think if you trade Robert Thomas, what is the point of keeping some of these other players? So that's where I lean. So if you're going to trade them, you might as well trade everybody else.
Yeah, don't nickel and dime this thing. Well, but some people feel, though, that if you just simply trade off the expiring contracts and keep this thing rolling, that eventually it'll be fine.
It could, I don't know.
I'm not among those people because I've seen now it just hasn't worked out. But you could make the argument that if you get the right pieces around guys like Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou, everything will come together. You got limited resources now. Can't pay everybody.
What is the right piece, though? Like, I just ran down the last 3 years of what attempts have been made to bring in the right piece.
Well, I'll tell you right now, it's not Kevin Hayes, it's not Kasperi Kapanen, it's not Jakub Vrana, it's not those guys.
In fairness to CD brought up those guys, but CD was talking about from the standpoint of the way that
different ways you've gone about it.
Exactly. That was after a teardown. It's not like
I wasn't saying Jakub Vrana was supposed to be a difference maker.
Right.
But you have tried multiple ways at this.
Yeah.
That was the purpose of those names. You've tried it in different varieties.
You actually started with that.
You started with that.
Yeah.
Then you brought in, some stud players from a different organization. You've brought in some rookies from your own organization. You've tried a multitude of ways, in my opinion. Now, maybe your argument is they haven't tried a superstar. All right, cool. Go get one.
Okay, but right.
Where from?
One.
Where are you getting it from?
Yeah, exactly. Matthew Tkachuk. Okay, yeah, that would have been great. But
Well, look,
I think This is the part that I think is the most frustrating for me when it comes to, well, just go sign somebody. Do you understand that it is like a marriage? It is not an arranged marriage. You can't just go pick someone in a free agency. It's a free agency, meaning they are the free agent, meaning as much as you want them, they have to want you just as much. So if you're talking about go sign someone, pay him the most money. Maybe he's not looking for the most money.
Well, you also need to have the cap space.
You got to have the cap space as well.
So if you're talking about keeping Thomas and keeping Kyrie and keeping some of these other guys and just bringing in a superstar, one, where's that superstar available? And two, how can you pay for him?
Anthony just trade for him. Oh, you know what? Most of those guys have what? No trade clauses. So again, they have to choose you.
Plus the team that they're on is they have to be willing to get rid of them.
Exactly.
For every Matthew Tkachuk that you bring up, how many other superstars are really traded?
Why? It's not fantasy hockey. It's not fantasy. You can't just make a trade and they automatically become, because that's your favorite team. Well, I want them here. You know what, buddy? The other team wants them there. So, and if they are a free agent, they have to choose you. You can't just go pluck them and they come play for you because you want them that badly. So, again, how do you find said superstar if the argument is, well, Robert Thomas and Kyrie, they haven't played with a superstar yet. Cool. You go create one in the lab? Because how the hell do you get them here if they don't want to be here? My only question.
What was the last big trade the Blues made in terms of acquiring a player?
Ryan O'Reilly.
Okay, who'd they get rid of?
Tage Thompson.
Okay. If he was on this team right now,
other pieces.
If he was on this team right now, the Blues aren't. They're not going to part with him, right? They're not parting with their younger players. They had to part with a young player in order to get another impact player back.
Sure.
And then they went on to win a Stanley Cup. That team missed the playoffs the year before, but Doug Armstrong got creative, brought in some veteran pieces, made a huge trade. It was a risky trade. We know what Tage Thompson is right now, but the Blues are not willing to do that now. Those players are off limits, right? That is a way that you could make this roster better, but doesn't seem like that's the direction the Blues are going in.
Well, even if you wanted to, though, again, is there a Ryan O'Reilly of this current era available? Right? Like who is the Ryan O'Reilly available?
For sure.
So anybody that's bringing up, hey, just make, like there's somebody in the snake pit that said, we've never brought in an elite goal scorer winger via big trade. That has not happened. There's a reason for that. That's a reason for that. Those guys typically don't hit the open market.
Say that again?
We have never brought in an elite goal scoring winger via big trade. That has not happened.
Yeah, maybe not recently.
Maybe not. That has not happened recently.
Yeah.
But there's also a reason it doesn't happen that often. Those guys don't often hit the open market. Yeah. All right. It's fast on a 101 ESPN. This was funny though. Carey, you had brought up like us being traded. And I want to give credit here if I can find this. It kind of toggled on.
Did we get traded?
Who was it? Again, I want to be appropriate. Oh, it was I think it was Dr. Xander in the snake pit. Said something about us being traded to Montreal. They would love to see what would happen.
If we were traded to Montreal, we'd have to learn French, Anthony.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, Dr. Xander goes, that would be real weird if Hubbard, and if you don't know, Hubbard is that's the company that owns us. It's not ESPN. We're an ESPN affiliate. We're not owned by ESPN. That would be real weird if Hubbard came in and told these guys they were going to Montreal. And he came back, he goes, I just don't even know how the Montreal market would respond. That's awesome. All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Shout out to the Snake Pit. Again, if you want to be part of the thought process today on the show, I'd love to hear what you have to say. Where do you stand on a possible Blues fire sale? Leave us a Scott Lee Heating Company mic drop. What are you laughing at, Marsh?
I'm just laughing at all the people in the text line that was thinking the exact same thing when that one listener said that the Blues haven't traded for a big-time winger. Everyone is saying Brett Hull would like a word.
I I assume that
That was a long time ago.
I assume that the person meant recently.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is funny. A really good point here too by Uncle Sam at one point said something about they brought in Buchnevich too. Buchnevich has not. I mean, he's been good, but you did bring him in, and everybody liked that deal initially. Some things just don't work out, and then you're stuck, and then you have to make some drastic moves. And I'm not saying this to say, just let Army off the hook. No, he's accountable for this. He's got to be held accountable. But he already knows that. It's not as if he's entering the trade deadline here saying, well, you know what, I tried my best. No, he's got to fix this thing without doing more damage. So we'll continue to see what happens here with the NHL trade deadline, which is rapidly approaching. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Should the opinion of fans be the only one that matters for Major League Baseball? Marsh has a thought on this and how the customer is always right. That's next on 101 ESPN.
The Athletic Today survey of 14,500 sports fans, and they asked them about baseball. Are you enthusiastic, hopeful, indifferent, disappointed, upset? And 4% of people are upset. They'd be upset if it was 74 and blue skies tomorrow. There's just a small percentage of very cranky people who aren't happy unless they're unhappy. But the remarkable thing about the survey is 67% of baseball fans today are enthusiastic and hopeful. That is triple when this survey was done in 2022. They don't do it every year.
So that was Colin Cowherd, of course, on Fox or FS1. And Marsh, you actually recalled when The Athletic reached out to subscribers asking them for their input on the status of Major League Baseball. So Colin Cowherd just referenced some of the poll that The Athletic did, and you remember actually jumping on said poll.
I did, yeah. Usually I'm the one throwing out the poll,
right.
But
only this time you jumped on it.
This one I jumped on, and I actually took the survey. So I remember taking the survey. This was maybe a month or so ago, a couple weeks ago, and then it came out, a few days ago. But I thought what he said was interesting because I went back and looked at the survey because there's more than one question on there. And he's correct, in terms of the hopeful and enthusiastic fans. But 2 questions later, the survey asked if the Dodgers are good or bad for baseball. And 52% of those fans said that they're bad for baseball. So I think that we have reached the conclusion that there is parity within the game of baseball. Maybe it is for the bigger markets, but we had Kyle Gibson come on. He even convinced you.
I finally convinced Carey of it, and Kyle.
I don't know if it worked that
think
way.
it's the other way around.
Either way, Anthony, you are a changed man. You're a changed man.
Yeah, thank you.
My thing is, though, if more than 50% of fans, and by the way, over 14,000 people took this survey, so I think it was like 14,200 something. But if more than 50% of fans think that the Dodgers are bad for baseball, isn't the customer always right? So, despite what former players think, despite what owners think and what the national media people think about where the game of baseball is, ultimately the fans are the consumers. If 50% of the fans think the Dodgers are bad for baseball, shouldn't that be the end-all, be-all, the customer? Or am I wrong?
Okay, I think Carey's going to say something about you being wrong.
If 52% said it was bad, that would mean 48% said it was good? Or is my math off? Because if you're and I know, Anthony, you said numbers wouldn't be involved.
Yeah.
But if you surveyed 14,000 people, that'd be about 7,200 saying it was bad and about 6,800 saying it's good.
I'm already lost, but thank you.
52% say the Dodgers are bad for baseball. 32% say the Dodgers are good for baseball, and 16% don't have an opinion on it.
They don't care. So,
which is
48% don't care. Think it's fine, in my opinion. That's how my math works. I'm just saying. So I don't think it's overwhelmingly, and again, it's 14,000 people. That's a good number, but it's not, I'm sure, not nearly the number of baseball fans that are in the world. But I think that, no, I don't think the fan, is the fan always right? No, nobody's always right. Right, Anthony?
No, not everybody's always right.
So,
I think that the people, now here I am making assumptions. For me, I perceived that having a cap and a floor would make the game more competitive, i.e., fans would have an opportunity to watch their team more.
Not a cap.
No, but I'm talking about what I did, what I thought before.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah. Walk with me, Carey.
I wasn't listening.
No, you're fine. I perceived before I saw the light that if Major League Baseball would just install a cap and floor, that the league would be more competitive. I, as a fan, could watch my team make the playoffs more. Then I did the research on it, and there's not much difference between baseball and the NFL. New division winners more in the NFL, slightly more new playoff teams in Major League Baseball. In other words, teams that did not make the playoffs a year ago made it the following year. Turns out, if you root for a bad team with bad ownership and a front office that doesn't know what the fast lane it's doing, chances are you're not going to make the playoffs. Cap, no cap. So I wonder if these fans, or have the ones that wanted the salary cap and all that, or just the status of Major League Baseball, Marsh. I wonder if they have thought they thought like I did.
Maybe. Going back to the hopeful and enthusiastic fans, Colin said it was 67%. That's what the math adds up to be. And a different question: are you in favor of a salary cap system with cap and floor in Major League Baseball? People that said yes, 68%.
Okay.
Is there a correlation between the fans who are saying, I'm very hopeful and enthusiastic about baseball because maybe there's a chance that there will be a salary cap and a salary floor? Those numbers are very similar to each other.
Sure. I would assume, yes, those two things are mutually exclusive. Those two, the people that voted on one also, the majority of them also voted on the other. In other words, hopeful that there will be a cap. What was the two?
So it was hopeful and enthusiastic, and where Colin is saying, hey, that has to do with the Dodgers are winning. Mm-hmm. Baseball is great right now. People are hopeful and enthusiastic, but at the same time, they're saying at almost the same percentage of people are saying that they favor a salary cap and floor.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think he can interpret the data however he wants to, right? Like that's the thing about analytics and numbers and all that. You can take something and say, this is what the numbers are telling me. So Colin Cowherd can do that, and he can take it in any direction he wants. For me, though, it's more in line with how I think many people think, where it's Major League Baseball would benefit from this, as opposed to, hey, the Dodgers are great for baseball.
Well, those people need to get Kyle Gibson on the air so he can explain to him why it doesn't matter. Because the cap doesn't matter in other sports. Like, the Jets ain't going to make it to the Super Bowl because there's a cap in the NFL. Mm-hmm. They're not.
Yeah.
They don't even know who they're
just a bad organization.
They're a bad organization. And you're going to have those organizations throughout sports, no matter, what sport you're playing, at what level you're playing in. Like, you have some people that are non-competitive. I think they're trying hard, but they're snake bitten, or they're just not a good organization. Whatever the case may be, some of these organizations struggle finding ways to win consistently, even with a salary cap. That's not going to make you draft or sign the correct players if you're not already doing it, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think baseball, first of all, I don't think there'll ever be a salary cap in baseball. For me, there's no reason for Major League Baseball players. And I get it. You want to bring the floor up. You want to make sure that the younger guys, the guys that are middle to lower tier, have more finances or have more opportunities to make more money. I get all of that. But at the same time, you're limiting, while you're helping them, you're also limiting them, and you're putting a cap on how much they could make if they do turn into one of those superstars. So every young player, in my opinion, believes or sees themselves as the next Shohei, as the next Aaron Judge, as the next Albert Pujols. Like, I told you, we're delusional as athletes. Like, your athletic ability might not ever be to that capability, but your brain tells you it is. Yeah. I was in the locker room with future Hall of Famers, and I told myself I'm the best damn player on the field.
Damn right you were.
Give a damn about that. The hell? Yeah, Troy's over there. Yeah, Ben's right there. Hines, see you, brother. I love you. But I don't care. I'm the best player here, because if I didn't think that, I couldn't have survived in that environment.
Sure.
And that's the mindset that you have or have to be at that level. And to tell a younger player, you might end up making Shohei money, but we're going to put a cap on it. You're not going to be able to make that now.
Right.
So it's two-sided in my opinion.
My whole thing with the fans, and I was telling you this, Anthony, in the office, I think it's a perception thing. We have the luxury, and our listeners have the luxury of a former player, Kyle Gibson, coming on and sort of giving out the numbers to us, where he ended up changing your mind on that. maybe other fans aren't listening. They're not doing that, but they are so locked in where the Dodgers are bad for baseball. Major League Baseball needs a salary cap.
Sure.
You can't discredit what their opinion is, even if you do think it is wrong. And I was telling you in the office, I look at this as like, and you watch the movies, I've watched the movies, other people have watched the movies, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? They have built something to where it's a global thing. And since Endgame came out, their product has not been good. By and large, it has not been good. However, there have been movies since that one came out that have been good, but people don't care to see it.
Right.
Because there's this thought process that Disney and Marvel stinks now. But they're missing out on some good quality TV shows and or movies.
Sure.
That's sort of where I look at this, where fans, maybe they're not as educated as some other people are in terms of the what a salary cap could do.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you can't discredit their opinions because they still are fans of the game.
It's a great point, a great comparison.
And that's why I say the customer's always right. If I'm a retail worker and there's a customer who's saying, well, this shirt right here is 50% off. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's in a different spot. You're wrong. You know, it's like, how do you go about that? Well, the customer's always right.
Well, mark your stuff appropriately, Mark.
Well, that's true, too. Yeah, good thing I don't work in retail. I used to, though. Oh, God.
So did I. Yeah. It's
tough.
You're either retail or food industry, I feel like, and both sides have horror stories, I'm sure. One, you're dealing with food, so that's a little tough, but, both sides got customers to deal with. Oh, man.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Marsh, do you want to do Bet the Board? You want to do Bet the Board?
Yeah, we can do it now. I think we should.
I don't think we should.
I think we should.
No.
I mean, we're a little late on this segment. Yeah, man, bet the board right now.
He's going to be with us later.
Bet the board.
Nah, you're right. You're right.
He's going to be with us later.
We were all in bad moods earlier this week.
We hosted him yesterday,
We did.
We hosted him yesterday.
Come on, man.
I know.
Come on, man. Hey,
I got a heart today.
Why?
I got a heart today.
He didn't have a heart when he, did that bet the board segment at 2:15. Just throwing that out there.
No, and he's got to answer to his maker at some point, like we all do. All right, who won the NFL's latest blockbuster trade? We'll spend a couple of minutes on that next on 101 ESPN.
College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every night. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. Here's how it works. Build any college hoops parlay you like. The early tip, the rivalry game, the ranked matchup, the late night West Coast shootout, mixed spreads, totals, props, whatever fits your read of the slate. Then apply your profit boost and instantly bump the potential payout. Go safe, go spicy. Go with the team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style. Now with more upside behind it, head to FanDuel.com/local to get started. FanDuel, play your game. Must be 21 plus and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Minimum 2-leg parlay required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable boost builder tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amounts. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Blues back in action tonight, taking on the Seattle Kraken. You can listen to that game right here on 101 ESPN. Pregame starts at 8. Puck drop is at 9. We'll talk with Joe Vitale at 3 o'clock, and then Jamie Rivers will join us at 4:15 from Seattle. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
Pretty significant trade today in the NFL as the Rams acquired cornerback Trent McDuffie from the Chiefs in exchange for 2026 first, fifth, and sixth round draft picks. Now, the Rams are in good shape because the Falcons handed them their first round pick last year to acquire in order to draft James Pierce Jr., who is in a ton of trouble right now legally and should be. But going back to the Rams, they had their first round pick, which again they traded to the Chiefs. Fifth and sixth round draft picks also going to Kansas City for cornerback Trent McDuffie. McDuffie, 3 interceptions over 56 NFL games, was a first round pick of the Chiefs in 2022 and was set to play on his 5th-year rookie option before being dealt to the Rams. I'm assuming, of course, that he'll sign a long-term deal with the Rams. You're not making a move like this unless you do. McDuffie's only 25, did finish the season on IR with a knee injury, but this is a pretty good piece for them. I like it for both sides. Because, again, the Rams had extra draft capital. I don't know how you don't love it if you're the Chiefs. You lose a good player.
Yep.
But we're not talking about, I don't want to just diminish a cornerback, but you're not talking about a pass rusher. You're not talking about, obviously, a quarterback or a key piece on your offensive line. You can find corners.
Yes. I think it's a good job for both of them. The Rams are probably in that window where they feel like this is the last opportunity or running close to the last couple of opportunities with Matthew Stafford under center to put a championship team around him. You already know the Rams don't have an issue with getting rid of draft picks. They famously said F them picks a few years ago and went on and won a Super Bowl. So they don't value the draft picks as much as other people. And I don't blame them because when you look at production versus, what could be production versus potential, you should always go with production. And Trent McDuffie is something that what the production level is versus a first-round draft pick who could or could not help you this season. I think they're in win-now mode. And the flip side of it is the Chiefs are also looking at it as, we have to rebuild around this. We needed to get under the salary cap, which they did. They restructured Patrick Mahomes' contract. They released Juwan Taylor, which saved them a lot of money, but they still have some more money I'm sure that they like to allocate in other places. And this not having to pay a potential, a large contract to a upcoming free agent in Trent McDuffie probably helps them as well in terms of getting their contract and their structure in the way that they want to go in the roster and the way they need it to go. So I think both sides won. I don't think that there's a loser in this situation right now because the Rams are trying in win-now mode and the Chiefs are, we won a few Super Bowls. And our quarterback is injured right now. Let's rebuild this roster so when he's healthy and ready to go, we'll be dynamic and we'll be a really good football team for him.
It's a great breakdown. Yeah, I don't think there is a necessarily a winner or a loser here. I think both sides played this one right. If the Chiefs aren't going to bring McDuffie back in a long-term deal, as you mentioned with the cap room, they're trying to recreate or trying to create, I should say. If you don't have this player earmarked as somebody that you're going to want to keep long term, then moving him for draft capital makes a lot of sense. The Chiefs are in. I wouldn't call it a rebuild.
They're in a reload.
They're in a mini retool.
Yeah,
and this is nothing new. The Patriots went through this multiple times during their dynasty run. They would get to a point where they knew they had aging players that they needed to move on from. They famously moved on from guys that were very popular, whether it was Richard Seymour or Laurie Malloy or Vince Wilfork at one point. You would think these guys would be long-term Patriots, like never to move on, retire as Patriots. Next thing you know, they're in Houston or Oakland or Buffalo
Playing elsewhere.
So the Chiefs are now going through it. You can't just continue to run it back. At some point, the aging contracts wind up being albatrosses on your salary cap, and you need to make the necessary moves. So it's a good time to do it with Patrick Mahomes on the mend.
That's exactly what I was thinking, which is what the Patriots did. They had to move on from certain players. Players aged out, right? And your quarterback is going to be your quarterback. He can play 15, 20 years, no issue, because he doesn't, as long as his arm is strong enough, as long as his legs are stable enough, he's good to go. Mm-hmm. But you move around those other positions, you get younger in other positions, and you start to grow and build and put together another championship, hopefully another championship run, which I'm sure is what they're looking forward to. If that's, I know that's the mindset. They're just going to reload what they have and start over with some different players.
Definitely. All right, that's Carey Davis, Super Bowl champion. I'm Anthony Stalter. Jamie will be with us from 4:15. He'll join us after the Gauntlet today until the end of the show. He's on the road as the Blues take on the Kraken tonight. Pre-game starts at 8 o'clock. Puck drop at 9. You can listen to all the coverage of the Blues game right here on 101 ESPN and the Blues Radio Network. Joe Vitale will join us in 15 minutes, so we'll talk a little trade deadline with Joe. It'll be our last conversation before the trade deadline, so we'll talk to Joe Vitale about his current thoughts on the Blues trade deadline and, of course, some of these upcoming games. But first, we got Prove Me Wrong. So if you have a Prove Me Wrong statement, something that you want either Carey or I to have to prove wrong in the eyes of our judge, Andrew Marsh, then send your Prove Me Wrong statement into the Air Comfort Service text line at 314-399-9646. We'll do that next in the Fast Lane.
Prove me wrong, kids. Prove me wrong.
It's Fastline on 101 ESPN. Time to play Prove Me Wrong. This is where you, as the listener, can text in a statement that you want to see Carey and I attempt to prove wrong. Our judge, Andrew Marsh, is in the building as well, and he'll be the one to determine whether or not Carey and I actually did our jobs. So if you want to send us a Prove Me Wrong statement, you can do so via the Air Comfort Service text line at 314-399-9646. By the way, this just in, Patriots are releasing wide receiver Stephon Diggs, according to multiple reports by ESPN. All right, Marshy.
Yes. Let's start off with the 314. Prove me wrong. No Cardinals pitcher will win 10 games this year.
Are you kidding me? You've seen Dustin May. He's healthy. I told you all his ERA is about a 2.7 when healthy. And guess what he is right now, Anthony? Healthy. Dustin May is ready to rock and roll. And on top of that, it's a prove it year, man. Why is he proving it? Because he wants to get what, Anthony? Paid in full this offseason.
Pay that man his
Dustin
money.
May is going to shove. You know what I mean? He's going to be outstanding this year, and you just wait and see. And the Cardinals are going to be delightful to watch. Going to be surprising.
You know, Carey, even in some lean years, Cardinals have had 10-win players, 10-win pitchers. Last year, right? Disastrous season. Well, Sonny Gray had 14 wins. Now, I know he's not part of the team this year, but again, just to prove the point of even if you think this is going to be a wretched year, understand that guys still post 10 wins. For example, Miles Michaelis.
How many did he have?
10 in 2024. Wow.
Even in the leanest of years.
Even in the leanest of years, guys like Miles Michaelis still posted 10 wins.
Still get her done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is some great evidence.
I figured you'd like the McCollus one.
Yeah. All right, from 618, prove me wrong. Like it or not, the Rams are the best team in the NFL, especially after the trade today, and they aren't even done.
Did the Rams move out of the NFC West, or better yet, did the Seahawks move out of the NFL?
No.
Did they win the Super Bowl last year?
The Seahawks, yeah. The Rams, no.
Okay, Rams fell behind.
The Rams.
Now, who beat the Rams in the
Seahawks,
NFC title?
Seahawks were.
Seahawks,
Yeah,
then.
they
Okay.
were. And they're in the same division, Anthony, so I don't know. Call me crazy. I don't know how you could put them over the team that won the division and won the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
just because they added a cornerback?
Yeah,
cornerback.
Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah, no. Seattle, likely to retain most of their pieces. They certainly have to overcome,
I mean,
not having Clint Kubiak, but good teams can figure that out.
Yeah, and in fairness, the Rams needed another corner. I mean, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Did he leave Seattle?
Oh no, he's still there.
Okay, yeah. So that.
Yeah.
What did he win? What award did he win? He won an award.
Offensive Player of the Year.
A Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he's back with the team that won said Super Bowl.
That's correct, sir.
Oh, okay, yeah. No. And they're not even the best team in their damn division, man. Well done.
Thank you. You as well.
The Rams' best team.
Come on now.
They got a good team, Anthony.
They do.
But they're not the best.
They cover in that last game? No, sir.
All right.
And as you know, Judge.
Good teams win, great teams cover.
Bingo.
Hopefully I got that saying right. Apparently the other saying that I had wasn't correct. But I appreciate those people for informing me.
Which one was that?
The customer is always right.
Oh, people took exception to what you're saying.
They've been kind. The customer is always right in a matter of taste.
Oh, so there's more to that, is what they're saying.
Yes.
Got it.
All right, we'll move on. Now that I'm educated. From the 217, prove me wrong by trading Robert Thomas. This team turns into what it was in the early 2010s and misses the playoffs or gets bounced in the first round for the next 10 years.
So just because they trade Robert Thomas, all of a sudden the bottom falls out. Am I understanding that correctly, Judge?
10 years?
10 years? Is that? Am I understanding the facts of this case?
10 is the number.
Okay. I am unaware of the Blues already clinching a playoff spot this year because of their sterling play. Have they done so?
I don't think so.
No. Is Robert Thomas part of the team?
Yes.
Okay. All right. A couple years ago, was Robert Thomas part of the team when they missed the playoffs?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Apparently, Robert Thomas isn't the difference maker. Yet, they're claiming, Judge, that without Robert Thomas, everything falls apart.
The hell, look like with him.
Things aren't going great with him.
He was one of the main reasons why they made the playoffs last year.
Judge, just remind me. The last 4 years,
He's like the best player in the NHL.
Last
Four Nations.
post
how
Four
many games?
Nations, all right?
How many games?
Right?
How many
Judge?
games?
Yeah.
Just asking,
A
just clarifying.
handful.
A handful of
Okay.
games.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the broader picture here, the last 4 seasons, I'm sorry, you can't claim that somebody is a difference maker when your team continues to post substandard production. Sorry. Just can't do it.
All right, I'll give it to you. 10 years is a lot.
Long
You
time.
having a 10-year listener?
I'm sure they'd get at least to the second round in one of those years.
Sure.
Okay. This one comes from Tasty Burger, SDL. Prove me wrong. Summer sucks. The only reason people like it is because there's no school. Oh, pool weather? Oh, you mean it's so hot you need cool water. Neat.
Summer sucks. I mean, this weather right here sucks. I mean, it was like 70 degrees 3 days ago, and then it was
That was nice.
20 degrees a day ago. It's
That
like,
wasn't
who-
nice.
Who the hell knows? At least with the summer, you get a broad view. You understand what you're getting into. And the hotter it is, the less clothes you can wear.
Sure.
You know, I mean, it's easier to take clothes off than it is to layer up. If you're cold, you're just cold. You left your coat at home, guess what? Your ass is freezing. You didn't bring a coat, or you didn't have, you got your coat on and it's hot outside. Guess what you can do? Take your coat off. So, yeah, summer to me is one of the best times. I mean, it is outstanding. As you mentioned, as a young lad, for all my teachers out there, all the great educators, you telling them summer ain't good? You telling all of the teachers that help our wonderful kids become better human beings that they shouldn't enjoy their summers?
I'm not,
Shame
Carey.
on you, sir or ma'am. The summer is the best time because those teachers get a much needed break. And I do mean much needed. And if you can't agree with that, you might not be American.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I'm the judge. I probably shouldn't clap to that.
Yeah, you had to make a ruling on that, Judge. All right, we have Joe Vitale next. We'll pick his brain about the Blues trade deadline next on 101 ESPN.
everything St. Louis Blues as we head into the Blues booth on 101 ESPN. Presented by Boardwalk Hardwood Floors. Find your perfect new floor at boardwalkhardwood.com.
3:03, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler, with Andrew Marsh and Carey Davis. I'm Anthony Stalter. Let's head to the Collier and Thompson phone line. We're joined by our guy, Joe Vitale, who will, of course, be on the call tonight on the Blues Radio Network as they take on the Kraken. Pregame at 8, puck drop at 9. What's up, Joe?
What's up, boys?
I know we've asked you this a lot over the years, but I do think resetting things, because you do have perspective on this. What's it like to be a player the week of the trade deadline?
Oh man, it's miserable. It's really tough. You know, it's hard to not see the emotion. You know, being at Climate Pledge Arena this morning here in Seattle, you know, Stalls, it was a very quiet morning skate. You hear a pin drop, and you know what? As it should be. You know, you don't want guys to be stepping over out of bounds or trying to be louder than they need to be. It's like a funeral, right? You know exactly what this is. We're going to be respectful. We're going to be quiet. Same thing here. Let's just be about whatever the business needs to be about. You take one step in front of another and just get to Friday afternoon. And, you know, like I said, you don't need to manufacture anything else. Everyone knows the situation. The Blues, you know, towards the bottom of the standings. But obviously so much is being talked about on social media, and insiders and players see it, they hear it, they feel it, the wives, the girlfriends, the family members. It's just everywhere. So it's really hard to ignore the noise. That's certainly what players are trying to do, and just stay focused. But it looks like there is one more final game that they will have to get through, which is tonight in Seattle, before the inevitable trade deadline coming up on Friday.
Joe, we've been talking about this, I think, ad nauseum for the last few days, maybe the last few weeks. Robert Thomas's name has been, you know, thrown around a lot here lately. Do you think a team, and it doesn't matter what team, do you think a team gets better if they actually trade their best player?
Not right away, right? Not right away. What can you say? I mean, like I said, I don't know exactly the details of some of these rumors, and certainly I don't call myself an insider. If the names are being thrown around like you talk about, with Robert Thomas being up there, let's be real. I mean, players like Robert Thomas, they don't come around very often. You know, there are a handful of players that play like him. This is not a throwaway player. This is not a mediocre player. This is not someone you just move on from. Robert Thomas is an elite centerman in this league. He has shown that he not only can be an 80-point player, I think you put him with even more of an elite winger, he can hit that threshold of 100 points. I think we're looking at still one of the best passers in the National Hockey League. And not to mention, guys, over the last 2 years, let's not forget, he has done a heck of a job shutting down the other teams and the world's best. Look at names like Nathan McKinnon and Connor McDavid. He gets those matchups. This is an exceptional hockey player. And I don't think we need to talk much more about sometimes the drought or maybe the dips he's had this year. You know, a player that's dealt with a little bit of injury, a player that's dealt with the pressure of the Olympics, you know, a lot going on in his world. And let's face it, he's only been given this position to lead a franchise for a couple of years. I'm not going to say he's a young kid. He's certainly in his prime, but sometimes these take a while. You know, even one of the best players in the world, Nathan McKinnon. You look at Nathan's numbers. He didn't really take off until his 5th year. And I know Robert's past that, and the numbers are certainly there. But for Nathan McKinnon, from like a leadership core piece, going to drive the bus, it took 5, 6, 7 years. I'm not saying that Robert's going to be on that same timeline, but I would urge folks who so quickly want to move on or think this is just another player. It's not. This is a heck of a hockey player, and that's why if it's out there that his name is being thrown around, it's going to be hard to get this done because Doug Armstrong and Alexander Steen know how good of a hockey player this is. So even if his name is out there, the price tag, guys, is going to be extremely high. I mean, we're talking first rounders, first round prospects. I mean, multiple players at that top threshold of building a franchise around. Now, I don't know if there's a lot of teams right now in this position that can afford that. You know, you think about the Buffalo Sabres and the Montreal Canadiens. We've heard the LA Kings. I mean, right now there's a handful of teams that need what Robert is, but what do they have to give up? Certainly this is why a lot of times general managers wait till the season's over before the draft, because there's a bigger pool of teams. But with that being said, I'm not sure if I answered your question, Carey, but I see it both ways. I see that, Robert certainly is a player that can make a huge difference on a team. I think the question becomes for Alexander Steen is, do you see Robert Thomas a part of this franchise this year, next year, and over the next 5 to 6 years? If the answer is no to that, well, then it's a matter of time. But if you feel that, no, he is going to be a centerpiece here moving forward, then you just move on.
Joe Vitale joins us right now on the Fast Lane on 101 at ESPN. Great thoughts, Joe. So along those lines, we got a comment from our snake pit in the 101 ESPN YouTube chat, and the T25STL says there's no guarantee we get better in general by trading our best player. Look at the Sabres with Ryan O'Reilly and with Jack Eichel. It's been 14 years. Absolutely. It's a great point. Where I'm at right now, and we don't even have to talk specifically about Robert Thomas, although he is there's a reason why there's some discussion here, because he would fetch you a lot. Joe, my question to you is, if you decide, no, we need to keep going forward here with this current core, then what's the answer, Joe? How do you get this thing back on track?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fabulous question, and I think that's the one that keeps men like Alexander Steen up at night, because this was supposed to be a year where you took a step forward after making the playoffs last year. Everyone got older. Everyone got more mature. I think that they're trying to sort through right now is this core the core that's going to get it done? When I think of core player stalls, I think of course, Thomas is in there. Jordan Kyrou. I think of Pavel Buchnevich. I mean, right there, those are your 3 highest paid forwards. That group is Colton Parayko. Jordan Binnington. Is this core, now that, Jordan's obviously getting a little bit older, his expiration date's coming a little bit quicker, but is this core, is this the group that's going to drive a franchise to a championship? I think in 19, that was certainly a core that drove a championship. Not only from what they did on the ice, but just from the strictly, I'm talking personalities. Just a group of goofballs that just played hard for each other. That's the key, right? We were just in Minnesota last weekend, and I'm looking at what Billy Guerin has done in Minnesota. You bring in Quinn Hughes, yes, but he has got a group of kids that care for each other. Personality. Jacob Middleton, he's a personality. Foligno, he's a personality. Zuccarello, Boldy, all these guys, they're good hockey players, but he's built a team. And I think the big question mark for Alex right now, Alexander Steen, that is this core going to bring a group together? And if he feels like it's a no, well, you have to figure out a way to move on piece by piece. And if he figures out that no, this is the group, they just need supplemental pieces, well, then you act accordingly from there.
Mm-hmm.
Joey, looking around at the landscape of the entire NHL, do you see any huge trades happening? I think about last year, Mikko Rantanen and Matthew Tkachuk a few years ago. Are there any of those big names that could potentially be moved outside of just St. Louis players?
I just don't see a huge pool this year, Carey. That's why I feel like, to me, you're going to see a lot more smaller moves like we've seen, like McCarron going to Minnesota. We already see, the one move for St. Louis was Bukestad in New Jersey. I think the biggest one, 4 or 5 weeks ago was the Artemi Panarin, which of course was already resolved. So I think that's why. You talk about Thomas and Parayko. These big names. It's not just the St. Louis market. These are kind of the big names across the board. So I guess in a kind of indirect way to answer your question, I don't really see a lot of big names on these teams. Elias Pettersson maybe one there in Vancouver, but I think they've already just are sold on committing to building their franchise around him. So you look at Vancouver, you look at New York, right? You look at some of these teams towards the bottom, there's just not a lot of world-class athletes on these teams. St. Louis, to me, with Robert Thomas, I think Robert Thomas is the most coveted piece because it's this balance of being on a team that's not very good right now, and he is a world-class athlete. So I don't really see anything shaken out. And like I said, if anything were to get done big, I think the biggest splash across the league would be right in this hometown if Robert Thomas does in fact get moved.
Joe, we've had discussions about the Cardinals and whether or not they should have started a rebuild, retool years ago. With the state of where the NHL is right now, with the teams in the Central Division, with how good they are, do you think this would be the optimal time for the Blues to go in a different direction?
Is there ever a good time to rebuild? No. There's never a good time. And especially with Alexander Steen taking over next year. I know the Army's said repeatedly that he wants to leave this in a better spot than he did when he showed up. And if it leaves in a way where we're rebuilding, it's certainly not the case. I don't know if there's ever a great time. I know one thing: this Blues ownership group spends a lot of money. Right? They're towards the top of the league every single year. They pay for championships. So if championships and playoff hockey is not coming to fruition, that's a bit of a problem, right? So I think that certainly you consider all that. You consider the fan base. You consider what Doug Armstrong has done his entire tenure here in St. Louis. He's always had the tone: competitive, competitive, competitive. And Marshy, the other thing too is, what does a rebuild, retool look like?
Mm-hmm.
So many people think, you fall to the bottom for 2-3 years in a row, you get your first rounders, and all of a sudden you rebuild for a decade. Well, look no further than the Edmonton Oilers. How many first overalls did they have in a 5-10 year span, and they still haven't gotten the job done? You look at the Buffalo Sabres. I'm looking at the defensive core with 2 number 1 overall picks. Heck, we just saw the New Jersey Devils come to town. Nico Hischier, number 1 overall. Jack Hughes, number 1 overall. Curbs had some crazy stat about how many top 5, top 10 picks they've had over like a 10-year span. It's crazy. So even when teams commit to that, or maybe if they're a bad team, even then, it's kind of a coin flip right now. And that's where I think the league has really changed. And I actually give credit to the Vegas Golden Knights for kind of changing the game here, where it's less about number 1 overall, less about top 5 picks, less about, trading away good players for a draft piece. Now these draft pieces, like I said, they're a coin flip. And Vegas is like, let's just go find the best hockey players, established, ready to go in their prime, and move forward. So, again, I know it's a all over the place question, but I only want to bring up the point that what does that rebuild, retool even look like to me right now, because of these draft picks? It's such a coin toss. So, with all that being in question, it really does leave you in quite a situation where it makes it difficult for players at Alexander Steen. This is what keeps them up at night.
Joe, we appreciate you. We know these conversations aren't always easy, but it'll be done by Friday, and we'll have an opportunity to react with you next week.
Sounds good, boys. We'll talk to you guys then.
All
Thanks
right.
for your time.
Take care. Thank you. That's Joe Vitale here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Andrew Marsh, Carey Davis, I'm Anthony Stalter. Jamie will join us in an hour from Seattle, so we'll talk a little more Blues hockey with him, and we'll continue to just discuss what's going on right now with the Blues as we're basically in transition. Really. Transition to what? We'll find out. We'll find out by Friday. That's for sure. All right. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Continue to send in your mic drops. Our question today was, where do you stand on a possible Blues fire sale? Where do you stand on it? Do you want to see a full fire sale? We're getting mixed opinions over the last couple of days, so I'd love to hear you explain in your own words what you would like to see by Friday. So leave us a mic drop via the Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's 101 ESPN mobile app, and we'll play those throughout the course of the show. Are the Cardinals one of the teams that is ruining baseball? One national host believes so. You can call them a dirty name. It's next on 101 ESPN. When you're investing in something as visible and as important as your front entry of your home, you want it done right, especially if it's a custom project. I love working with Mosby Building Arts on a variety of different remodels and reshapings for my home. And here's a 5-star online review from another homeowner in Des Peres who also had a similar experience with Mosby when it came to replacing their front door. Every step of the way, Mosby was there to help us through whatever obstacles came our way while replacing our front door. It was a custom job, within a custom job, they were up for any task when others could not get what we were requesting, what we wanted. They let us know what was happening throughout the process, and their craftsmen always found a way to get us what we wanted. I would strongly recommend them. Sometimes a door isn't just a door, right? Replacing a front door, you'll get that upgrade when it comes to, the look and the feel of your home and things like that. But maybe there's some sort of issue, maybe with water or anything like that. Mosby can handle it all for you. Clear communication, custom details, craftsmen who don't back down when a project gets complicated. That's Mosby. That's the difference that experience makes. So if you're thinking about upgrading your front entry or tackling a remodeling project, start at callmosby.com. You get a free brainstorming session with them there, and you can also see what a 5-star experience looks like. Mosby Building Arts. Tell them Stalter sent you. Fast on 101 ESPN. Andrew Marsh, Carey Davis, Anthony Stalter, Jamie Rivers will be with us in less than an hour. So we heard Colin Cowherd earlier, and we're talking about one of his segments on Major League Baseball, and he was talking about a certain athletic poll that made that Marsh also took part in, and we reacted to that earlier. Here's what Colin Cowherd said, though, on certain teams ruining baseball, and you want to make note of one team he mentions.
What's hurting baseball and what hurts any store, any industry, is lousy. What hurts baseball is the A's and the Marlins and the White Sox and the cruddy Cardinals and the Pirates. You put those products in the store, that hurts the store. The stores never hurt with the best bakery in town or the best produce in town. And the Dodgers are an all-star team.
But first of all,
The cruddy Cardinals.
First of all, we can take shots, all right? But not you. Not you, outsider.
That was harsh.
We want to take shots at the Cardinals? Okay, fine. But not you. Second of all, did you hear he's like Marlins?
Yeah.
He listed name, and then he used some alliteration?
Yeah.
With the Cardinals?
Yeah.
Little cruddy Cardinals? Can you replay that? There was some stank on that, too. Listen to the stank from Cowherd.
What hurts baseball is the A's and the Marlins and the White Sox and the cruddy Cardinals and
Did
the
you hear
Pirates.
The A's and the
White Sox and the cruddy Cardinals.
What the hell?
Have the Cardinals become the cruddy Cardinals?
Gee, that's harsh. I didn't expect that. I didn't hear this in the pre-show meeting. I'm glad I didn't.
You're flat out taking it. Like the brand has fallen off that much? Really?
He just lumped the Cardinals with a bunch of teams that have stunk for multiple years.
Well,
Have not tried. Well, okay. All right.
Well, that's where the conversation starts.
I don't think we belong in that category. We were still trying as of a year ago.
Does that make it better?
No. Makes it kind of worse, honestly. Zeus says you pronounced cow turd wrong.
No,
cow turd wrong, Anthony. Alex says, who is this moron? That's Colin Cowherd, one of the more successful radio hosts in ever, Bob. I don't. Here's what is. Here's what's kind of shocking to me. Again, has the brand fallen off that much? Because usually it takes a while for a brand to be tarnished. Nationally, locally, we can be angry because we're close to it. We're close to the experience, right? But nationally, it usually takes a while for somebody to finally say, that brand is completely diminished. Are we there?
I think so. Because I think people already had a problem with the BFIB. Like when you call yourself that, it's like some people get mad when people give themselves a nickname. You can't give yourself a nickname. Someone else has to give you a nickname. It means more. If you just call yourself something, people look at you like you're weird.
Carey, you are now Eric Davis.
See, there you go. Now I can, but if I call myself that, it's kind of weird. So the BFIB situation kind of, I think, pissed people off around the baseball world.
Sure.
Especially when they started to not go to games, and then people started noticing that.
Yeah, and so then they started. Then it became a mockery. Oh, look at the best fans in baseball. All three of them at the game. Like,
shut your mouth. You shut your dirty mouth.
It became a joke, a running joke. And so I do think nationally people are looking at Cardinal baseball and saying, "Ew." Like, yuck, because the Cardinals that we are accustomed to, that we have grown to know and love, are competitive. They're in the conversation. No matter what the conversation is, you're never in the conversation with the Marlins and the A's and the White Sox and the cruddy Cardinals. Like that, again. You got to look outside of what you are accustomed to, what you know. And outside of St. Louis, people are looking at the Cardinals and saying, what the hell is this and what the hell is going on?
Man, that would have been a hell of a lineup in the early 2000s. All those teams were pretty good. I mean, the White Sox won the World Series in 2005. They made a movie about the early 2000 Oakland Athletics. The Cardinals had the best lineup in ever, Bob, according to you, in 2004.
They did.
You know, who else was on there? The Marlins won the World Series in 2003.
Yeah,
that wasn't that long ago. Anthony, it was like 20 years ago.
Thanks to that guy in left field at Wrigley, reaching over to set up the Marlins for success there.
It wasn't the shortstop for the Cubs that ruined the game.
No. He only booted a key error. That was only a foul ball, but nonetheless. So we're getting some comments here in the snake pit. Splashback Deuce says, to be fair, he had to specify the cruddy Cardinals. He didn't just say Cardinals like the rest of that group.
I think that's what makes it hurt even more.
That's one way to look at it.
Alex says the Cardinals have only been really bad for like 2 or 3 seasons. They've only just now stopped spending a decent amount of money. That I agree with. Now, Carey, I know you disagree with it, but I agree.
No, it's been 3 seasons. It's been since 2022.
But they have the second most World Series titles from a national stand. Like, again, locally, we're ahead of it. But nationally, it usually takes a while. Like, whoa, what happened to the Cardinals?
Yeah, I think when
You're saying we're there.
Nationally? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. I think, well, so when you watch, it's the nationally televised games as well. Like, I believe one of those Cubs games was nationally televised, and I don't know that Eric Ferdy got out of the first inning, or should not have gotten out of the first inning.
But that's not our fault or the Cardinals' fault. It's Fetty's
fault. But if you're watching the Cardinals, that's what you get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
All right, I don't like your attitude on this, but I can't. Listen, you bring up good points.
But are they ruining baseball?
No, they're not ruining baseball.
I don't think so either. At least out of those teams, and I know other teams, you can make an argument. Well, they're trying to rebuild, whatever. I don't subscribe to the other teams.
Not unless the Pirates have been trying to rebuild for over a decade.
I wouldn't put the Pirates in there now. It seems like they are actually, trending in the right direction.
Yeah.
They got Skeens. They got this Connor Griffin kid who he didn't look like he just smashes balls right now.
And how'd they get there?
They stunk.
Yeah.
For a number of years.
For a long time.
But
barely tried.
Maybe they're trying now.
I think the Cardinals are on the right path, though.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
what I will say is, when he said those other teams, who are the stars on those teams? Who's the star on the White Sox?
They traded
Took too
him.
long. Okay.
It was probably
who's the star on the
Murakami.
Marlins?
Sandy Alcantara.
Nope. Probably. I'm talking, Sam. Okay, maybe. But superstar. Like, when you are naming those teams, you're looking
Mike Stanton, of course.
Yeah, he's not there. Of course. Star on, who else did you say? Marlins,
He
White
left
Sox.
and became a whole new person.
Oakland Athletics. Not even the Oakland Athletics. The Athletics. They might have.
Rooker.
They are. They do, actually. Who's the star on the Cardinals?
Well, it's Mason Wynn, of course.
Mm-hmm. I think when you are looking at teams that you don't think are trying, and I put that in air quotes, you probably say they don't have the superstar player or superstar players. And so then you get kind of in that. So that's why I don't put the Pirates in that conversation, because I think the Pirates might actually be trying to be better. Which, if you are a Pittsburgh Pirate fan, man, I think all 10 of y'all, good for y'all.
Oh, dang.
That's about 15. I'm sorry. You're right.
That's more fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff, guys. Don't forget the mic drops about the Blues. Where do you stand? Where do you stand on a possible fire sale? We'll continue to take those and play those throughout the course of the show. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We do have our guy, Jamie Rivers, coming up at 4:15 after the Gauntlet. But what's coming up next is the Sports Six-Pack, at least part one. 314-399-9646 to the Air Comfort Service text line. So if you have a question for us, send it there. Sports Six-Pack next. Carey, I was mentioning after some inconsistency, I finally got back into the gym, and I was like, you know what, I better go pretty light here. Things haven't been here for a little while, and guess what? Quickly, I started to add weight again, and I felt great. And a lot of it's thanks to mentality. You went down there about a month ago, started the program. I've been on the program now for a while. They concentrate on the free testosterone, right? So if you're getting a little bit older, whether you're in your 30s or 40s or 50s or 60s, and you're not done being at your best at work, in the gym, or at home, go see our friends at Mentality. It's easy to get started, Carey. They start off by first asking you questions about how you're feeling.
Yeah, and they're not the average low T bro type of clinic, right? They're human-centered based. They want to talk to you about you, figure out what's going on with you and your body and your brain, and how to get you to be the best version of yourself. 2 great locations, same people, Chesterfield, and you go to South County. And so go down there, talk to them, and see how you can get back to feeling like you want to feel.
Yeah, so if you're saying to yourself, well, what do you mean not feeling at my best, low energy. Maybe you're struggling with your mood. Your mood's all over the place. Maybe you know that when it comes to the gym or anything like that, you don't feel like you're at your best and you want to be at your best. So reclaim the old you, the younger you with Mentality. Right now, all new patient labs will be covered in your treatment plan, so that's a savings of $250 right out of the gate. Tell them CD and Anthony sent you in there. Then you qualify for that. So you qualify for those savings, the $250 in savings, and get back on track with Mentality.
ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Universal Windows Direct. We talked earlier today with Joe Vitale as the Blues get set to take on the Seattle Kraken tonight. Pregame starts at 8. Puck drop is at 9. And there's some news from Darren Dreger on X. We will get to that next, right before our Sports Six-Pack. If you have a question you want to send our way for the Six-Pack, do so using the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646. We'll answer your questions next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and this Sports Center update is brought to you by Universal Windows Direct.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
Refreshed by Urban Chestnut. Urban Chestnut Swickle Light Premium Light Beer. Live your lifestyle, St. Louis.
Marsh just mentioned this in the Sports Center update. TSN's hockey insider Darren Dreger tweeted out a couple of minutes ago. It's believed that Colton Parayko to Buffalo is going to happen. Things are being finalized. Player needs to approve, etc. So that's one rumor right now, according to Darren Dreger, but certainly a big name within the industry. I haven't seen anybody locally mention it, but and obviously we have no idea what sort of compensation will be coming back for the Blues. I don't know why, but Parayko, Carey, I know you mentioned him earlier when we were talking about the fire sale and we wanted your mic drops and things like that. But when you mentioned Parayko, he wasn't really on my radar. I don't know why. Maybe just because the Blues, Parayko has been one of those guys where I'm sure they've gotten a lot of calls on over the years, and he's always that poster child for if you, as soon as you trade Colton Parayko, you're looking for the next Parayko.
Yeah.
But I also am among the belief, and a lot of, I'm sure you guys are getting the same questions. A lot of friends and people in the building that work for other stations. Hey, what do you think the Blues are going to do? And I have said, I think they're going to do a fire sale. I think they're going to try to trade off as many pieces as possible. So I don't know why Parayko wasn't more on my radar. But again, if you're just joining us, Darren Dreger tweeted out a couple of minutes ago, it's believed that Parayko to Buffalo is going to happen. Things are being finalized. Player needs to approve, etc. So we'll stay on top of that.
Very interesting.
All right. Marshy, question 1, please.
Question number 1.
Well, with all that being said, we get a question from BK's Fanny Pack. Who would approve to move to Buffalo?
I don't know. It's kind of like it has been the Siberia of the NHL.
They have a good team, though, this year.
They do.
They got a good football team. You can watch some football games.
They do,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Got wings.
Buffalo wings.
Yeah.
Is that where they were created?
Yeah. Good Buffalo wings there.
I don't know that.
Come on, man.
I didn't know that.
Marsh is right. So they're second right now in the Eastern Conference with 78 points. They're actually second overall in the Eastern Conference overall in terms of points. They're having a good season. Things are starting to come together for them for the first time. It certainly would be, I don't know if sad's the right word, but just, I don't know. Surreal if Colton Parayko is the first one to be dealt at this deadline?
Yeah, it seems like you're almost working backwards, where we have the idea of, okay, these are the players that we are like 90 to 100% sure are going to be dealt.
Yeah.
I don't think he was at the top of that list.
No.
So I wonder if they're essentially like working backwards. I don't know. Darren Dreger just tweeted out literally 2 minutes ago. Sounds like Radim Murtka and a first will be a part of it. So he quoted what he said earlier about Parayko to Buffalo going to happen. Things are being finalized, all that stuff that we just mentioned. And then he followed up with that, brought up Radim Murtka. I don't know if I'm saying that name correctly. And a first will be a part of it. So interesting.
Jedi is noting, too, on Twitter here that Parayko's not in the projected lineup for tonight. Wow.
Well.
25 STL says Murtka is a stud. So Armstrong has picked Falk over Parayko and Pietrangelo, question mark. That was from Hiley. I don't think that's the case. I think Falk will probably be dealt as well.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, Justin Falk, I would think, if you're looking at like the one layup to get dealt, I think it's Justin Falk. Don't you guys?
I thought so, yeah.
He can still be moved.
Braden Shen.
I'm sure he will.
Yeah. This is it's gonna be a wild time, man. And you brought in the fire sale thought this afternoon. I hadn't thought about that. Like a complete, okay, blow it all up.
Sure.
Just.
Well, like I said yesterday, I was kind of ruminating on it and got a message from a buddy that said, "Hey, what do you think the Blues are going to do? What do you think is going to go?" And I really do believe that, and I don't have any inside knowledge here. It's just flat out my opinion, but I do believe that Doug Armstrong was going to take the approach of trading off as much as possible here. You know, Marsh, you had asked me in the office before the show whether or not the Blues or the Cardinals are kind of on do they have like a clear runway, basically, right? Are they starting at the same spots? And the answer is absolutely not. while the Cardinals are further behind in terms of like the young pieces that they have, they're already on the major league roster. They cleared the space, the roster space, in order to have an official retool or rebuild. The Blues have not done that. And I do think the Blues and Doug Armstrong probably going to do it. They're going to clear some spots here in the next couple of days.
Yeah, this Mertka fella, 9th overall pick in last year's 2025 NHL entry draft for the Buffalo Sabres. So you pair that with a first-round pick. It seems like a pretty decent package for the Blues. He has 29 points in 35 games as a defenseman for the Seattle Thunderbirds in the WHL right now. So,
all right, there you go. So again, let's reset things.
He's a large human being too.
He's like 6'6".
Yeah,
Darren.
so maybe you're finding your next Colton Parayko.
Maybe. Darren Drager noted about 10 minutes ago, it's believed Parayko to Buffalo is going to happen. Things are being finalized. Player needs to approve, etc. Darren Drager tweeted out 4 minutes ago, sounds like Radim Mertka and a first-round pick will be part of it. I think the Blues are about to get a haul here in terms of first-round picks for players. And if you could also get players that are on, I can't speak for Merka's, like where he is in terms of his NHL journey, but if you can get guys that will be a part of this Blues rebuild sooner rather than later, so not just getting draft compensation, but players back in return, could jumpstart some things.
Very interesting.
It just makes me wonder, what could you get now for some of these other players? Like, that's the next question that I'm thinking in my head. Like, what would Robert Thomas end up fetching you? We know what people have thrown out there, on the interwebs, but I ultimately wonder if they do deal him, like, what does that look like? And then my next question is, okay, if the Blues are doing this, the Cardinals just did this. If you had to compare the two, who did it better, right? We could have that discussion come Friday.
Yeah. All right, so again, just to reiterate, if you're just jumping in your car and you want to know what's the latest on the Blues, Darren Drager of TSN reporting that it's believed that Parayko to Buffalo is going to happen. Things are being finalized right now. Parayko needs to approve the deal. Compensation needs to be figured out, but Darren Drager believes that Radim Mertka and a first will be part of the deal.
Redeem. I think it's Redeem.
Redeem Mertka.
I'll go listen to the
Radim.
Pronunciation.
Radim?
I'll go to the pronunciation guide during the break, Anthony.
All right, so let's take said break, and when we come back, we'll take more of your questions. If you want to keep it all Blues related, that's fine. We will have Jamie joining us at 4:15 as well. So we'll have the Gauntlet as usual at 4. Jamie will join us on the road from 4:15. More of your Sports Six-Pack questions next on 101 ESPN. Hey, tomorrow at the Enterprise Center begins the Arch Madness tournament, the Missouri Valley Conference tournament. It's a lot of fun. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you get your tickets. ArchMadness.com is where you can find them at the State Farm Missouri Valley Conference Men's Basketball Championship. The title game will be played on Sunday. Round one tomorrow, and then throughout the course of the weekend, each round gets going here. But Belmont is the current number 1 seed. They're the current favorite to win this tournament and advance to the NCAA tournament. But the Family Fun Pack presented by 101 ESPN includes 4 tickets, 4 sodas, and 4 popcorns for $105. Coupons available at ArchMadness.com. If you want to take your family down to the Enterprise Center at some point over the next 4 days, you can celebrate the 50th year of the State Farm Missouri Valley Conference Men's Basketball Championship the last 36 years right here in St. Louis. So you're talking about a St. Louis tradition, a tournament that's a lot of fun. As I've mentioned over the last couple of weeks, if you've got some young ones that might be interested in basketball, maybe they're playing themselves, and you want to take them down to the Enterprise Center over the next couple of days here and watch a matchup. Northern Iowa, I think, is interesting this year. They're a very good defensive team. I think that even Southern Illinois, they could pull off they could be a surprise based on how they finished the season. They won 5 of their last 6 games, so they're looking good as well. But again, check out archmadness.com to get your tickets, and make sure you also grab the family fun pack presented by 101 ESPN. The 4 tickets, the 4 sodas, the 4 popcorns for 105, and it's going to be a great State Farm Missouri Valley Conference Men's Basketball Championship this weekend. Arch Madness coming to St. Louis.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
Refreshed by Urban Chestnut. Urban Chestnut Swickle Light Premium Light Beer. Live your lifestyle, St. Louis.
It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN with Andrew Marsh and Carey Davis. I'm Anthony Stalter. More of your sports six-pack questions coming in. A lot of them have to do with, of course, the St. Louis Blues, who could be trading Colton Parayko, according to Darren Dreger. It's believed that Parayko to Buffalo is going to happen. Tweeted out Drager about 20 minutes ago. Things are being finalized, and he believes that it sounds like Radim Murtka, a first-round pick, will be a part of the trade package, but nothing is finalized yet. That's all we know. We'll certainly bring on the key pieces if we need to.
They did. Lou Korek put out the lineup a little earlier, and Parayko was not in the lineup. I think you talked about that. So that's also important as well. It says Parayko was absent, which generally means that teams are trying to work out a trade, or maybe there's an injury there. Who knows? But if you get this talk, the speculation, and all of that, and then the player is not in the lineup, you kind of can come to your own.
Put two and two together.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, Marcia, go ahead.
Question number 2.
All right, from the 618, do you think Army is leaving the Blues better than he found it if he has a fire sale?
It depends, of course, on what the compensation is. I don't know if he's leaving them better than what he found them. Although over the years, I mean, you didn't have a cup for him. I mean, how far back do you want to go, right?
Right.
But if he hands Alexander Steen a roster that does not include some of these players that have no trade clauses and long-term deals, and you swap them out for, I get it, prospects are just prospects. You have no idea if the potential will eventually emerge into actual production. But if he were to hand Alexander Steen a roster that does not have a bunch of these long-term deals and no trade clauses, meaning you're handcuffed, and he gets prospects and draft picks in return, I think he did the best he could with an unfortunate situation. To me, and maybe this is just the way my brain works, CD, if I were Alexander Steen, I would not want a roster that is limited and handcuffs me. And even if it has sporadic talent, I have to now build a new roster while handcuffed. I'd rather have those players off the roster, have the flexibility to rebuild it in my vision, as opposed to, here you go, didn't work out, sorry.
Agreed. I think it depends on how you view it, and it depends on how Steen views it. I mean, you maybe there's a conversation there, hey, man, we got to figure out a way to get these guys off the roster. We don't know.
Right.
We don't have a clue as to what is deemed a good roster going forward. All we do know is what you have currently has not been good enough.
Right.
So you either stick with that and keep running your head into a wall, and maybe you eventually break through, or maybe you just end up concussed, or you try a different path, and you try a different way of going about it. And if the reports are true that, Parayko, who is often, and I've heard this more times than I can count, you don't trade Colton Parayko because as soon as you do, you're looking for another Colton Parayko.
Sure.
If you're trading Colton Parayko, who was not one of the names that was, I think, talked about, often or a lot in terms of what was being traded or could be traded at this trade deadline, you might be going down the route of what Anthony Stalter said earlier, as in a fire sale.
Right.
You might be come one, come all, whatever you want. As long as we can get what we deem, good enough as a return, yeah, you can have it. Because otherwise, why would you trade Colton Parayko?
Right.
Unless you were just like, blow it up. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of how we've gone about this. Blow it up. The hell with it. Let's go in a different direction. And it could be just one person, but if it's that person, I would assume that it's going to be more people, if that makes sense at all.
I agree.
Question number 3.
So Colton Parayko has been dealing with quote-unquote back spasms since the return of the Olympics. Super Brad Arb in the Snake Pit says, quote-unquote back spasms is a pretty convenient cover for we're working to move you. We don't want to hurt. We don't want you to hurt. Have a seat. Not saying that is what's happening here by any means. This is just a theory from a listener. But do you believe that something like this just occurred? Or do you think maybe there is more to it and this has been a thing for a while now that the Blues have been looking to deal Parayko, and we just haven't been privy to the rumors, discussions, all that, because his name hasn't been floated out there as much compared to a lot of other Blues players.
Yeah, I don't know. I would assume, Marsh, that there's been internal discussions on every player on the roster. I'm sure if you're Doug Armstrong and you're Steen, you are looking at every avenue to rebuild this thing on the fly. So I imagine they had discussions on Colton Parayko over the last couple of weeks, and if it got to the point where they felt a deal was possible, they probably talked to his reps as well to see if he would agree to a trade and where he'd go. Maybe they said okay, well, look, we can't play you then. Can't play you. We don't want to have you get hurt and then nix a trade.
If you're trading someone or in the talks of trading someone, that player usually sits out.
Yeah, you're not going to risk it.
Yeah.
Question number 4.
Major Stronzo texted in, I think the Blues forgot they were in a rebuild and are giving up too early. You have two good players and you're talking about giving those two up and starting all the way over? That guy earlier was right about all of those early 2000 years. They sucked. Do you think that this season, the way it's played out, this is a panic move? Given that the team was in a quote-unquote retool, re-whatever, and that this season has been not good, but it's leading to a panic move from the front office.
Okay, this is where I go then.
I wonder if there's a full fire sale if the team doesn't make the playoffs last year, if that gave us some false hope of what this team actually is.
Well, okay, so I was just going to ask you something similar, Marsh. What have we been saying since this got off? I mean, it went off the rails quickly this season. What have we been saying since about December? The play after the Four Nations tournament was the mirage. If we look at this thing dating back to, 2 years ago, I don't want to go back too far because now you're getting into, the lean years and the rebuild and all that. So let's not go back too far. But the majority of the last 2 years with this group, how has it looked? Are you seeing outside of the play from the Four Nations tournament through the Winnipeg Game 7 loss? Outside of that period, how has this thing looked?
Bad.
Are you encouraged?
No. I think it was...
Maybe I'm not being patient enough, but I feel the same way you do, CD, where I'm like, no, I think that this thing needs to be broken up.
Like when you... what has it been? 3 years now? 4 years? How many years has it been without making the playoffs?
Again, I don't want to go back
after last year.
Other than last year.
So 2022 was the last time they made the playoffs. Is when Binnington was injured against the Avalanche.
The Avs, okay. My brain, it doesn't disregard that because, you can't disregard that stretch. But they had to claw their asses into a playoff spot. And if I'm not mistaken, they won it on the last night over, was it the Flames? They just... they had to get past the Flames. So you're one game from not even being in that position. Granted, you took the best team in the league to 7 games and lost in overtime. That stinks. But at the end of the day, it ain't been great for a lot of time. Like a lot of hockey that you've been watching over the past few years has not been great. Other than if you can say 3 years of terrible hockey, but we had 2 weeks or 3 weeks of great hockey.
Right.
And then you expect that 3 weeks to be the norm. No, the norm is the 3 years. That's the averages weigh that part out. The averages show you that for 3 years, okay, for 2 3/4 of years, it's been really, really bad.
Sure.
And then for a quarter, maybe a fifth, it was really, really good. And so, yeah, that's I think that's how the Blues front office, if Colton Parayko is traded, if you do move on from other players, now there are still other players that are in the lineup. Robert Thomas is allegedly in the lineup tonight, which if I'm trading him or talk about trading him, hell, hey, brother, you sit your ass over here and watch some hockey because I don't want you to get banged up.
Sure.
So maybe they aren't looking to trade anyone else because some of these other guys are still in the lineup, or maybe they're not close enough to even have a conversation for them to sit out.
Mm-hmm. By the way, we got to mention this. Former Notre Dame, South Carolina coach Lou Holtz has passed away at age 89, won 249 games with 6 schools, and, of course, the 1998 national title with Notre Dame. So our thoughts certainly with the Holtz family. Again, Lou Holtz passed away at age 89 today. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We will play the Gauntlet. Do we need a Gauntlet contest? No, we do. We got a returner.
Yeah, Jake.
That's right. Yeah. That's right, Jake. All right. Jake's back. That's next on 101 ESPN. So this month, my friends at Auto Centers Nissan out in Herculaneum, they're turning up the pressure. So I'll explain what that means here in a second. But they have over 1,000 new and used vehicles all in one location right out there in Herculaneum, right off I-55, minutes from South County. And it's easy from pretty much anywhere in the region. When it comes to Auto Centers Nissan, right now in the month of March, select new Nissan models qualify for 0 payments for 6 months. Again, 0 payments for 6 months, 0 money down, and 0% APR for 60 months. Remaining 2025 models are also discounted up to $11,000 off MSRP. So you find a great deal at Auto Centers Nissan. You can cash in with either a brand new vehicle like a 2026 model or a brand new 2025 model that they're looking to get off the lot because they want to clear inventory to get the 2026 models. Every new Nissan includes a 30-day return promise from Auto Centers Nissan, and select used vehicles qualify for 0 down and no payments for 3 months. Plus, this month, buyers can claim up to $1,000 in extra savings online by hitting the Claim My Buyer's bonus on any vehicle. So if you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, Auto Centers Nissan, they got to be your spot. Over 1,000 vehicles, one location out in Herculaneum, Missouri. Shop now at AutoCentersNissan.com. And don't forget to hit that Claim My Buyer's bonus on any vehicle and tell them Stalter sent you.
warriors. 4 categories, 1 challenger. Can you survive the gauntlet?
Brought to you by Blue Note Roofing. Roofing, siding, and gutters. Visit BlueNoteRoofingSTL.com for a free inspection.
It's Fast Lane on 101 ESPN 407. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Andrew Marsh, Carey Davis, Anthony Stalter. Jamie will join us from the road at 4:15, and certainly a lot to get to when it comes to the Blues and the latest rumors involving Colton Parayko potentially being traded to Buffalo, according to Darren Drager. But we got the Gauntlet first, and we got our guy Jake back. What's up, Jake?
How we doing, guys?
Doing great. Doing great. Interesting day here, certainly in St. Louis when it comes to these trade talks. But we got some business first. You can choose either Marsh or me for round 2 after knocking off Carey yesterday. Who'd you like to go? Who'd you like to go with?
Let's go with me.
Go with you? You want to play? You want to play yourself?
No. Yeah, I got to win that way. No, let's go with you, Ant.
All right. Sounds good. Good luck to you, Jake.
Every day. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, Jake Anthony is heading to the cone of silence. You know how this goes. Tell Marshy to spin that wheel.
Spin that wheel. It's only appropriate hockey day.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, you beat me up pretty badly in football yesterday. I'm still licking my wounds from that one. Very frustrated.
Come on, man. 2-1. A win's a win.
It's bad, man. It's really, really bad. All right, Jake. You actually got baseball today.
All right.
All right, so you know how this goes. If you answer the question correctly without the options, you get 2 points. With the options, you get 1 point. And if you get it wrong, you get 0. Are you ready to roll?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Baseball's opening night will feature the Giants hosting the Yankees on March 25th. Who served as Aaron Boone's opening day starter last year?
Garrett Cole.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Question number 2. On April 2nd, 2025, Ivan Herrera swatted 3 home runs to help the Cardinals beat which of their interleague opponents?
I'm going to need some options here.
Options are the Angels, the A's, or the Twins.
Shot in the dark. Let's go with terrible pitching with the Angels.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Question number 3. The Blue Jays have officially announced Max Scherzer's signing Monday night. How many starts did the future Hall of Famer make in the 2025 postseason?
I got a pretty good guess, but give me the options.
Is it 1, 2, or 3?
Yeah, fantastic. Let's go with 1.
Final answer?
Final answer.
All right, question number 4. In 1941, Joe DiMaggio hit safely in how many consecutive games for the Bronx Bombers?
56. Final.
All right, we'll get Anthony in here. Joe, how you feel? I'm sorry, Joe. Jake, how you feel? Reading Joe DiMaggio.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a solid 50-50.
All right.
56.
No, that's a good answer. All right, Anthony is back from the Cone of Silence. Anthony, how you doing?
Good. How about you guys?
Doing great. How was the Cone of Silence, sir?
Well, I actually walked down to the bathroom. Saw our guy Rafe from
Just
the
walking around.
Rizzuto show.
Nice.
Then came back.
Did you have a conversation with them? We'll talk about it.
About how they need to do our show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get it done.
Yes, sir.
Anthony, your category today is one of your favorite. If I say one of your favorites, what would you say?
Football?
No.
Baseball?
Yeah.
All right.
There you
I'll
go.
take baseball.
Marcia, tell him.
Pack a lunch, Anthony.
All right.
All right, here we go. Baseball's opening night will feature the Giants hosting the Yankees on March 25th. Who served as Aaron Boone's opening day starter last year?
Well, Garrett Cole's hurt, so it had to be Ooh. Was Max Fried also hurt? I think it was Carlos Rodon then. I'll go with Carlos Rodon. I'm pretty sure it was him. Carlos Rodon, final answer.
Question number 2. On April 2nd, 2025, Ivan Herrera swatted 3 home runs to help the Cardinals beat which of their interleague opponents?
Options.
Options are the Angels, the A's, or the Twins.
What was the month? Sorry. Did you give me the month?
April 2nd.
April 2nd, so that was real early in the year. They opened with the Twins, but that would have been like March something. Ooh. I don't think they played the A's that early, and if I'm right about the Twins being early on, it had to be the Angels then. I'll say the Angels, final answer.
Question number 3. The Blue Jays officially announced Max Scherzer signing Monday night. How many starts did the future Hall of Famer make in the 2025 postseason?
How many starts did he make in the postseason for the Blue Jays? Well, let's figure 1 per round. At least 1 per round. I don't want the options here because you're just going to say something low. I'll say, well, no, he probably didn't start 1 per round. I'll say 2. Final answer.
Question number 4. In 1941, Joe DiMaggio hit safely in how many consecutive games for the Bronx Bombers?
The streak? Oh, my God. This is like common knowledge. If you're a baseball fan. 56. Oh, this is terrible. I'm already ashamed of myself. I haven't even answered it. I think it's 56. Final answer. Oh, God.
Hey.
I'm ashamed of myself.
Well, let's start there. In 1941, Joe DiMaggio hit safely in how many consecutive games for the Bronx Bombers? Without the options, Jake said 56. Without the options, Anthony said 56. The correct answer is...
Don't be ashamed of yourself, Anthony.
Yes.
It's 56.
I told you guys.
Yeah, you did.
Nice job, Jake. I don't know his question myself. We're so smart.
I do.
Let's go here.
Me too. Obviously.
On April 2nd, 2025, Ivan Herrera swatted 3 home runs to help the Cardinals beat which of their interleague opponents? Jake, you said the Angels. Anthony, you also said the Angels. The correct answer is...
It's the Angels.
But...
What?
Jake needed the options.
And so did I.
Oh, you did too? Oh,
Yeah.
My apologies.
Yeah.
That's all right. Yep, I needed it as well.
So we had a 3-3 tie. Let's go to question number 1. Baseball's opening night will feature the Giants hosting the Yankees on March 25th, who served as Aaron Boone's opening day starter last year. Without the options, Anthony said Carlos Rodon. Without the options, Jake said Garrett Cole. Correct answer is...
It is Carlos Rodon.
Comes down to this.
Failed.
The Blue Jays officially announced Max Scherzer signing Monday night. How many starts did the future Hall of Famer make in the 2025 postseason? Anthony said 2. Jake said 1. Jake.
You have chosen poorly.
You lose.
It was actually 3. You both were incorrect. But Jake, he got you 5-3 today.
Damn it, Bobby.
Jake, man, you're a pleasure.
Right on. It's been fun, boys.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for playing.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
You too.
See you, Jake.
See ya.
All right. Take care.
Jake, I like Jake. Damn it, Bobby.
Guys, while we were playing the Gauntlet, Jeremy Rutherford, our Blues insider with The Athletic, posted to X, Blues agree to trade Colton Parayko to Sabres pending Colton Parayko's approval. Sources.
Well, let's talk to our guy, Jamie Rivers, on that next on 101 ESPN.
Elevate your performance with my friends over at Pure Performance. They are your one-stop shop for all aftermarket modifications. And it doesn't matter what kind of vehicle you've got. My friends at Pure Performance, they've got you covered. They've got accessories for everything. If it's a Jeep or a Bronco or a pickup truck like I drive, they've got you covered. SUV, car, you name it. They've got amazing accessories for you. Best way to check it out is to stop by the showroom. They've got a 25,000 square foot facility. It's one of the largest in the area, by the way. It's in St. Peter's. Take the Cave Springs Boulevard exit. Can't miss it. When you walk in, please ask for Shelby. Tell Shelby that Jamie Rivers sent you in, and she's going to take great care of you. Also, right now, let's not forget that Pure Performance, they've got some specials going on. That's right. The March special is here. When you purchase a set of wheels and tires, get free sensors and installation. That's going on right now during the month of March. Don't miss out on that, please. And also remember that Pure Performance, they carry all tires for all makes and models of every vehicle, not just the big oversized tires. No matter what you're driving, they've got you covered. And again, when you purchase a set of wheels and tires, you'll get free sensors as well as installation from my friends over at Pure Performance. So please stop by the showroom or visit them online at pureperformance.com. That's pure, P-U-R, performance.com.
It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Carey Davis and Andrew Marshall, Melanie Stalter. And we head out to Seattle, where our guy Jamie Rivers is now joining us from his hotel room. And good way to spend the day, Jamie, in Seattle, but talking about, of course, a big trade. Our guy Jeremy.
Wow, what's going on?
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen it. So Jeremy Rutherford now has gotten into the action here, our Blues insider with The Athletic. As he and Darren Dreger, who had the report first, the Blues have agreed to trade Colton Parayko to the Sabres, pending Parayko's approval. Darren Dreger notes that the compensation is believed to be Radim Murtka and a first-round pick, but that right now that's not official. That's just what Darren Dreger is hearing. But it looks as though Colton Parayko will be the first domino that falls here with the Blues. Now, Jamie, I know you're a massive fan of Colton Parayko, his game, who he is as a person. So give us your thoughts now with the news just breaking here in the last 10 to 25 minutes.
Well, we still need confirmation, too.
Sure.
So let's not get ahead of ourselves. Anything could happen. The player could say, no, screw you, I'm not doing it. We've seen that happen before. Now, if hypothetically it does go through exactly the way as follows, I don't know. There's a lot of people that are going to love it because you're getting a 6'6" right-handed shot defenseman. So they think, well, that's his replacement.
Right.
But time will tell, if it is or not, because the player might exceed what Colton Parayko does, or he might fall short of that. So we just don't know. As far as a first rounder is considered, it's a nice added little bonus to it. But again, we don't know exactly what that first rounder looks like. What year is the first rounder? Is it this year? If it's this year, it's going to be a late first rounder for Buffalo because they're finishing somewhere at the top of the league, or certainly in the top 10 of the NHL. So that'll be the bottom 10 picks. What does that look like?
Right.
The other side of it is kind of the side of it that I'm on is I just don't know why you'd move Colton Parayko. He's a Canadian Olympian. He's proven that he's a great shutdown defenseman in the NHL. He skates very well, 6'6", and he's only making 6.5. So to me, it's a backsliding contract, meaning as the cap continues to elevate, his contract gets more and more and more attractive because of the fact that they locked him in when they did, and that he's only making 6.5 as a top 4 or top 2 defenseman, depending on where he's at. So. You know what? There's going to be a lot of varying opinions on it. I do think, though, in the back of my head, and I don't know this to be true, but I think the Blues may be looking at his back spasms right now. Mm-hmm. 2 years ago, he had back problems, and maybe they're like, yeah, maybe we're getting out of this at the right time. And then again, if Parayko goes, if Thomas goes, if Carey goes, if Binnington goes, if all of these players that they're mentioning right now, Shen, that's a full rebuild.
Absolutely.
At that point, it's a full rebuild. And if you're doing that, if that's what the plan is, then this trade is a very good trade because you're getting a 18 or 19-year-old defenseman that, he's barely scratching the surface of what he's going to be. So what will he be in 2 or 3 years? Again, we go back to last week. We talked about that window of 2 to 3 years from now. What does this team look like? And if they get rid of all those veteran players, then that's kind of your window. 3 to 4 years is when you're looking at really being a contender again.
Jamie, we were having the conversation earlier about Anthony mentioned a fire sale. And I was like, I don't think that's going to happen. Because we all thought that maybe Robert Thomas was on the trading block, or maybe Jordan Binnington. But I said if this Colton Parayko trade does go through, maybe you are looking at a fire sale. Maybe you are saying, come one, come all, whatever you want, as long as we get what we want in return. And I think that kind of speaks to your point about a complete rebuild. Is that where we're headed? If Colton Parayko is the one piece that we've heard year after year, you don't trade a guy like that because the minute you trade him, you're trying to find another one like him. This could potentially definitely be a rebuild in the making if Colton Parayko is gone, and then you see what other pieces may fall.
Yeah, I totally agree. I really do, because Colton Parayko is part of your top pair defense right now for your roster. If you get rid of that guy, what are you replacing him with? Matt Kessel, Logan Mayu right now. Like, I don't even know who comes up from the minors at this point. Is it Callie Rosen that comes up as your seventh defenseman? Do you bring in the young kid right away from Buffalo if that's the kid who's back in the trade? I just don't know. I think that it leaves a massive hole in your lineup. So therefore, to your point, Carey, I don't know if it's fire sale, but pretty close. And let's not just assume too that all of these moves are going to happen before Friday. I have no doubt in my mind that Army and Steiner, that if they don't get the price that they want for whatever player it is right now, that they'll revisit it in the off season around the draft time and things like that. They'll revisit moving players again. So if the fire sale per se, like you're saying, starts, it doesn't mean it'll be over Friday. It might end in the summertime.
Yeah, good. That's a good call. I've seen a couple of comments about how the Blues are choosing to keep Justin Falk over Colton Parayko. Guys, that's not how it works. They're not choosing one player over the other. Buffalo had interest, clearly, in Colton Parayko. You do the deals whenever
as they come.
Yeah, as they come. If you've been contacting teams or they have contacted you, you don't know when certain pieces are going to fall. It's not like a linear thing where it's like, well, first we're going to trade Falk and then we're going to trade this guy. And then, so just kind of keep that in mind. I'm assuming that Falk likely gets dealt as well. So just throwing that out there.
Yeah, so you got to remember a couple of things here now. And you made a good point, Anthony. It's also what other teams are wanting. So, and I'm not saying they don't want Justin Falk, but the Buffalo Sabres, let's just go there for a second. If the trade is true for Colton Parayko, I believe Parayko has 3, maybe 4 years left on his deal.
I can confirm that.
6.5, whereas Justin Falk would have 1 year left on his contract. The Buffalo Sabres, the way they're currently constructed, are built for long-term success, meaning they've got a lot of their young players that are locked in or about to be locked in for an extended period of time, which means you'd probably rather trade for Colton Parayko, having him longer than a Justin Falk.
So, Jamie, this is the 25-26 season. Parayko, cap hit next year, 6.5. Following year, 6.5. Following year, 6.5. Following year, 6.5. He doesn't become an unrestricted free agent until 2030.
Yeah, so that proves my point right there. If I'm the Buffalo Sabres and I'm building a great defensive core, Colton Parayko is what he is right now, but he could develop by the end of this contract to being what Jay Bouwmeester was for a young Colton Parayko on that team. And that's why you make that trade. That's why you want him instead of Justin Falk right now.
Is it possible that all this blows up in the Blues, the front office faces, if you're like, okay, let's trade Colton Parayko because we have this plan to have a fire sale, but ultimately you don't end up trading some of the other pieces that you want to because those guys have no trade clauses. Is that a thing too, which could ultimately shift this team in a different direction than a rebuild? Or maybe the rebuild isn't exactly what they want it to be. And so you keep a few players and you're like, oh, crap, it'd be nice to have Colton Parayko if this is ultimately what our team is, since we couldn't trade some of these other guys.
I think the way Doug Armstrong is wording this to certain players, and this is just my opinion, I have no knowledge of this, but I believe he's wording it to these guys that we are going into a full rebuild. So as much as it hurts right now this year, it's going to hurt again next year and the year after. Do you want to stay here during that time? Because if you do, that's fine. Then don't waive your no trade clause. But if you want to get out of here and you want to go to a better team or try to play in the playoffs or a contending team, then you need to let me go to work and find you a place to play while we go into a full rebuild. And I think that a lot of players are going to be like Braden Shen at this point in his career. Just think he wants to stick around for a rebuild. Robert Thomas probably doesn't want to do a rebuild. Colton Parayko, we'll find out. Like these guys will be like, I don't want to stick around for that. I want to play meaningful games.
So yeah, that would indicate that moving Colton Parayko is sort of the kick in the pants for these other players to essentially waive those no trade clauses. He's the first domino.
Yeah, and a lot of times too, Marshy, like Army's already had conversations with agents, and agents will say, "Hey, listen, we're not ready to move off the no trade yet, but we are willing to listen to whatever trade you go out and get, and then we'll talk about it. And we are willing to waive it for the right situation, but I would check with me first. So there is dialogue that goes back and forth so that you don't get to the end of the race to the finish line and then everybody goes, no, we're done here. Like the Torrey Krug thing, that kind of blew up in Doug's face. I don't think he expected that.
Again, if you're just joining us, and apologies for being redundant, but people jump in their cars or turn on the radios at different times. So want to kind of keep everybody in the loop. And a lot of people are wondering, hey, what's going on with the Blues as we get closer and closer to the Friday's NHL trade deadline. Darren Drager first tweeted out an hour ago that it's believed that Colton Parayko to Buffalo is going to happen. Things are being finalized. Player needs to approve, etc. He then followed up within 10 minutes and said that it sounds like Radim Mertka and a first-round pick will be part of the deal. None of this has been confirmed or official yet. Our guy Jeremy Rutherford of The Athletic tweeted out about 20 minutes ago that the Blues have agreed to trade Colton Parayko to the Sabres pending Parayko's approval. So that's where we're at right now. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We have What's Trending coming up next. Also still want your mic drops. Now the question becomes, now that we know that the one domino is likely to fall here, where do you stand on a possible Blues fire sale? Leave us a Rhino Shield mic drop via the Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's 101 ESPN mobile app, and you'll have Scott Lee Heating Company mic drop via the Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's 101 ESPN mobile app, and we'll get to those mic drops throughout the course of the show. What's Trending is next.
All right, Missouri, get ready to take Derek Stevens' wallet. That's right. The owner of Circus Sports, my buddy Derek Stevens, is giving you the chance to win his wallet. And you have from now until March 15th. So you better hurry up and register and get involved. And that gives you the chance to take home your share of $250,000. No strings attached to it either. It's just straight cash giveaway. Here's what you have to do, though. You have to wager at least $100, and that when you do that, you earn one share. If you wager $1,000, you earn 2 shares. And if you wager up to $5,000, you get a third share of your money. You can bet on anything as well, whether it's pro sports from NBA to NHL or college sports. A lot of college basketball going on right now. Straight bets to futures bets. All of that qualifies you. But please get on the App Store or the Google Play Store. Download the Circus Sports app. It's the white logo. Click on that and register to win owner Derek Stevens' wallet. Again, it's $250,000 in cash. For more details or any information at all regarding my friends over at Circus Sports, visit circusports.com. Again, that's circusports.com. Must be 21 and older and Missouri gambling problem. Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Over an hour ago, Darren Dreger, insider for the NHL, put on X, it's believed Colton Parayko to Buffalo is going to happen. Things are being finalized. Player needs to approve. He then followed up saying, sounds like Radim Murtka and a first-round pick will be a part of it. Our Blues insider Jeremy Rutherford also went to X and said Blues agreed to trade Colton Parayko to Sabres pending Parayko's approval. We have been talking about that in the last few segments. If you have missed any of those conversations, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's 101 ESPN mobile app. Just head to the podcast page and you'll find all of our shows there. And it's all brought to you by the Schaefer Door Company. We'll keep you updated if this does become official. The Blues are in action tonight in Seattle, taking on the Kraken. Pregame starts at 8 o'clock. Puck drop is at 9. We have What's Trending coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
What are the hot topics in the sports world?
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
Here's what's trending.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN with Anthony Stalter, Carey Davis, and Jamie Rivers, who is in Seattle right now. I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for What's Trending. Gentlemen, it seems like a lot of doom and gloom surrounding hockey here in St. Louis, but I have some positive things to say in terms of hockey in St. Louis. It was announced today that Maryville hockey is going to make the jump to NCAA Division I in 2027-2028. They'll go through a transition year coming up. But, Jamie, this I want to talk about the conversation that we had with Jim Montgomery on Monday. And you and him went back and forth about St. Louis hockey from when you came here to where it is right now. How important is establishing another Division I team in the city of St. Louis for hockey here in town?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think about it. You know, like Monty and I talking about old 1993, being so different. Well, fast forward to, the end of my first stint with the Blues, where it was 99, 2000. We're at the new practice rink, which ended up being the Hardy's Iceplex. Hockey continuing to grow. I come back at the end of my career, my second tour of duty with the Blues, and now the Hardy's Iceplex is jammed with teams. The Recplex has got new rinks. I mean, hockey has just grown so much. And Rick Zombo, former Blues player, he did a hell of a job getting Lindenwood across the finish line to turn them into a D1 team. And now everybody over at Maryville doing an incredible job as well to add another team. And realistically, you guys know this, especially you, Marshy. Like, NCAA is not putting one, let alone two teams into an area where the hockey isn't there, where the growth of the game isn't there, where they're not attracting players that can compete with other colleges. And look, it's going to be a while before Lindenwood and Maryville are prominent names in the college hockey world. But I do see a world where the CCHA maybe knocks on the door at some point in the next couple of years and says, hey, we'd like to add you to our conference here. You got no home? Come on, come home to the CCHA, where we know there's a lot of really great teams in that conference. So it's a big moment for the Maryville Saints. It's a big moment for St. Louis overall. And I'd be remiss too, Marshy, if I didn't congratulate, one of my former players, James Vermeersch. You announced the games. JV's a hell of a player. He's going through a tough time right now. He blew out his knee, his ACL, so he's having some tough times, but he'll be back soon. And when he's back, he'll be playing for a D1 team.
Yeah, and speaking of local players, do you see more local players staying in town because there are two options for those players, or do you see them going somewhere else?
Well, I think here's the thing, right? So let's go back to the, I don't know what year it was, but Matthew Tkachuk, Luke Cunnin, Clayton Keller, that whole group, Logan Brown the following year. Like, if St. Louis would have had an established D1 program for years, let's say it was 5 or 10 years, or established, or in a conference, they're playing against the Michigans, the Michigan States, the Wisconsins, like whoever is in, whether it's Big Ten or CCHA, I think you'd have seen players stick around in the St. Louis area. So I do think that the next level of player, though, so not your all-star, superstar player right now will stay in St. Louis. I think your next level player will stay in St. Louis. And then as the program grows, it's going to take 5 to 7 years for Lindenwood, and you're probably looking at 8 years maybe for Maryville, depending on how they recruit, and whether they get into a conference. But once they do get established, yeah, you'll see a lot of kids want to stick around, because with Lindenwood and Maryville, they do have campuses on both schools. So, look, you can live the college life, get away from home, become an adult, and play hockey in the city you grew up in. And then on Sundays, Marshy, as you know, you can bring your laundry over to Mom's and have a nice meal.
Well, for one, I'm excited for this, especially with those two teams being in the city. The state of the Blues right now, obviously, they're thinking about trading players away. I do think this is a win for hockey in St. Louis, so I'm definitely excited about that.
All right, that's the What's Trending segment for you here in the Fast Line on 101 ESPN. We're continuing to monitor what's going on with the Blues and the trades. As of right now, all that we know is what we've shared with you, and that it sounds like Colton Parayko is heading to Buffalo in exchange for Radim Murtka and a first-round pick, according to Darren Dreger. But none of this is official yet.
So, watching some stuff on Radim Murtka, and some of the scouts that have talked about him say that his potential could be that of a Moritz Seider. That's his comp.
Are you kidding me? Wow. Okay.
That's his comp right now. And remember, Moritz Seider took him a couple of years to kind of figure things out. I believe he played in the Swedish league 1 year, then came over as a youngster, took his lumps. But now when you look at a guy like Moritz Seider, he's a top 2 defenseman on the Red Wings. He's big, he's mean, he's got a great shot, power play, penalty kill, 20, 25-minute a game guy. So, we'll see. Now, those are projections and those are comps, and those things definitely have to try and work themselves out, but it's a pretty good start.
We got a text going back to our discussion. Jamie just wanted to throw this out there. This one's from Major Stronzo. We need to give credit to people like Mr. Rivers that stay here after their career is over and stay involved, that help to build this hotbed of youth hockey. So a little shout out to you and the rest of the crew that stays around, the Blues alumni that have built what we know today to be St. Louis hockey.
Well, I appreciate that, but there's a lot of us that put a lot of time in. I go all the way back to Blake Dunlop. We go back to Mike Zook, Bruce Affleck, Basil McRae, Al McInnes, Jeff Brown, Keith Kachuk. Those guys kind of paved the way as far as being here and giving back to the local hockey community. And now it's amazing. You've got Jamal Mayers, Joey Vitale, Barrett Jackman, Andy McDonald, Alex Brooks. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Neil Komodowski Jr. It just continues to go of former NHL or pro players that are back coaching youth hockey in St. Louis. And this is why it's happening. Kids love the sport, and the former players are coming back to St. Louis. And now we've got 2 D1 teams, and it's pretty awesome.
All right, there you have it. Well said, Jamie, and great stuff. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We've been asking for your mic drops. Where do you stand on a possible Blues fire sale? Looks like it might happen. I mean, if Colton Parayko's on the move, I assume that there's going to be more deals coming, whether it's tonight, tomorrow, Friday as the deadline approaches. Where are you in terms of the Blues and a potential fire sale? Some of your mic drops next on 101 ESPN.
All right, St. Louis, listen up. I want to know if you know that high-end countertops and cabinets are a feature for buyers and significantly boost homes' resale value. Do you know that? Because I do. I've bought and sold many homes, and that is a huge part of the value of the home. The kitchens, the bathrooms, all of those things, that's what sells a home. So whether you want to go bold, dramatic, anything you want as far as colors, patterns, tones, materials, my friends over at E&B Granite, they've got you absolutely covered. They have a fantastic amount of inventory there. And the best part is when you visit them on Manchester Avenue, you can go right into the back and see all of the different kinds of countertops. And while you're there, you can look at cabinets, you can look at flooring. They've got an in-house design staff that is second to none. They're going to help you through the entire process. I redid my entire kitchen with E&B Granite, and I've never been as happy with the outcome. One, it turned out to be, absolutely beautiful. But two, the experience was awesome. The customer service was fantastic through the roof. I recommend E&B Granite to anybody looking to do a home project, especially when it comes to your kitchen or your bathroom and those countertops. So again, visit them on Manchester Avenue, or visit them online at enbgranite.com. Again, that's enbgranite.com.
Yeah, I just feel like we keep trading some of our key players, and I feel like we're just not getting big names in return. I don't know. Maybe it's just that I don't know. I'm not aware of some of these players that we're going to be potentially receiving or have received, but it would just be nice to get one good, solid, big name player out of all these trades that we keep doing and potentially keep doing in the future.
All right, that was Brandon who left us a mic drop. We asked the question, where do you stand on a possible Blues fire sale? Now, typically, if you're going to be on the seller side of things, like the Blues are, you're not going to be getting big names. No contender is going to say, hey, we're going to give you a big name in return for whatever your trade back, whatever you're offering. Now, maybe Brandon means none of these players turn into big names. Now, that's a possibility. In that case, we just have to wait and see what transpires here. But typically, again, if you're on the seller side of things, you're not going to get big names.
Yeah, I thought he meant names coming back that he was unfamiliar with. That's how I perceive that that message. Which, as you said, you're going to get draft picks. You're going to get younger prospect players that have higher upside, players that you don't know, right? Because you're giving away a commodity. If you're trading a player like Colton Parayko, if you're trading a player like Robert Thomas or Jordan Carey or any of the really big name players that we have here, you're probably trading them to a team that is looking to win a championship or make a run through the playoffs, which means they ain't going to give you something in return that they need to win said championship. So I think just the goal, if you're moving on from Colton Parayko, if he decides to allow himself to be traded and move on, you're probably looking at some players that are going to help for the future of the St. Louis Blues as opposed to the right now.
Absolutely. All right, let's hear another mic drop. Here's Nick.
I stand in the same spot that I do with the Blues that I did with the Cardinals now on a fire sale. The similarities are a little eerie, aside from the fact that you had like Arenado and Goldschmidt being a lot older, but it just seems like the Blues bet on the wrong horses. And as much as I think Robert Thomas is a phenomenal player, and he would be useful going forward, he's really the only trade piece that you have that can get you anything significant back. Carey might get you one player or a player and a draft pick, but what you can get from trading Thomas could be altering the entire organization for years to come. You don't know what these prospects are going to be, but you can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again, just like the Cardinals did, and expect different results. They had a really good run for 20 games or so last year, but outside of that, the last 4 years have been pitiful. So I'm going to go with that as the reality over that 20-game stretch. And the Blues need a big infusion of youth and talent and stars, and they also need a big change in mentality. I don't know if it's because Robert Thomas is upset about not getting the captaincy, but when you're throwing your head back, looking at the rafters, and clearly despondent after a bad play, that's not a leader in the NHL. When you look at McKinnon and McDavid and those guys are absolute dogs, and they find a way to win, and the Blues just do not have that right now. They don't have that mentality.
I don't disagree with anything you had to say there. I mean, maybe at some point these guys have that dog mentality in them, but we haven't seen it in quite a while. I don't disagree with anything. I thought that was a great take, well measured. I also agree with him that if you continue to do what you operate in the same way, saying, well, we'll be patient, then you turn into the Cardinals. Mm-hmm. And then you have to have a kind of a broken down. It's not even a fire sale; it's a garage sale. The Cardinals just did. They had a garage sale, and they had to. I'm not crushing them on it, but they weren't ahead of things. I think if you're the Blues, you have to understand where you are. And Jamie, I mentioned this to Carey before. The Blues right now feel like a collection of talent, not a team. And I think that's why it's difficult for some listeners and some Blues fans to say, well, why are they trading these guys? Because they see the talent. But this talent is not turned into a team. And I think it's up to Doug Armstrong to say, okay, we have got to have a little bit of a reset here.
Just a question for you guys. In order to have a garage sale, do you have to have a garage?
No.
Because I see sometimes people have garage sale signs, yet their car is in the garage and everything's lined up down the side of the driveway. So technically, it's a yard sale.
It's a yard sale, yeah.
Yeah, but they have a garage, so they call it a garage sale.
Maybe it's a driveway sale. Yeah. That'd probably be more accurate.
I have not seen those signs. I've seen yard sale or garage sale.
I think that we should probably use what we do here on the radio.
Yeah.
Our platform. Okay. To really get the message out that these people are doing it wrong.
I mean, that's one way to do it. We do have listeners, Jamie, in Australia and Portland, Oregon. Mm-hmm. Well, Oregon. He didn't say Portland.
He didn't say Portland. You assume Portland.
I assume Portland.
Could be Eugene.
Could be.
Yeah, or Corvallis.
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got people everywhere.
Yeah, good call on that, Jamie.
I just was wondering.
It certainly is a driveway sale.
Saying like yard sale, and I just don't understand. Like, I don't know. Just not sure if there's a certain requirement there.
Jamie, I think it's a great take.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, from Nick to Nicholas.
Hey, guys. Hey, I don't think they need to have a full fire sale. I think they just need to change the core. I don't think the core is elevating the team enough to where you can consistently win games because they show flashes and then they go back to their old selves and then they show flashes again, kind of like what they did last year. But I think Army is going to change up the dynamic of the core by trading Thomas, Cairo, Falk. I don't know if you should trade Jordan Bennington or Braden Shen because who's your backup goalie if you trade Benner? With Shenner, who's your veteran in the locker room after that for a leader and a captain? I mean, he speaks the whole sanctity of what the Blues stood for. And I don't think you need to be trading that. But if Robert Thomas gets traded to Buffalo or to Utah, the return on that one's going to be big. Or if Folk gets packaged with Robert Thomas, then the package looks really good. And now you just changed the core a little bit, and then you could trade Jordan Cairo in the offseason for like Jace Robertson in Dallas or Brady Tkachuk in Ottawa. But that's what I think. See you guys.
All right, thank you, Nicholas. Yeah, Brady Tkachuk would look real good here in St. Louis. I'll say aye. Aye.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, so let's just have some fun for a second.
Please.
What do you think it would take for Doug Armstrong to call up Steve Staios in Ottawa and say, "Hey, Steve, like, I know you guys made the playoffs for first time in forever last year.
Thanks in large part to your
and I know
your young stud.
And I know that you have a gold medalist that's your captain, that is the bloodline of your team. But Steve, hear me out. Just for giggles, my owner said I had to ask you, so I'm going to do it. What would it take for Brady Tkachuk? So for you guys, what do you think it would take for Ottawa to move Brady Tkachuk that St. Louis currently has?
I'll say this. I'll say this, Jamie. I saw something on X, and you can't believe everything you see on the internet.
Although, Jamie, sometimes you do. Am I right?
Yeah, you never know.
Somebody on some website proposed trading both Jordan Cairo and Robert Thomas for Brady Tkachuk. Again, just what I saw. So I'll start there.
I think that's a steep price. Here's what I'll say. If Ottawa kicked back Ridley Gregg, I'd do that deal. I'd do that deal. It doesn't even have to be Ridley Gregg. It could be even a little lower. I don't care. Give me Cousins. I'll take that little
Kirk
crap
Cousins?
Kirky football?
No.
I don't want him, Jamie.
But
I've seen him play.
You just have to wonder. I think Ottawa would probably want Robert Thomas and Jake Neighbors, quite honestly. I think that's what they would ask for.
Yeah, because why would they take on, like, you gave up Brady Tkachuk, right? Why would you take on Jordan Cairo and Robert Thomas? Like, what would be the goal there? To me, it's to get multiple picks. I think.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. To me, it'd be a couple of young guys that the Blues have, not the two that are loaded contract-wise.
Well, Ottawa's in win now right now, so let's not be fooled. Ottawa's in win now. That owner is
with
tired
Brady.
of not making the. Well, you're right.
Yeah.
But I think that if they made a move like this, Thomas and Cairo would not be outlandish. But I just think to fill the roles that you need, Neighbors, Thomas, and maybe a draft pick would probably get it done, which is a steep price. But you're getting one of hockey's unicorns in Brady Tkachuk. So it's a fun discussion. I don't think it'll ever happen. Jamie. Will ever trade it.
Playing a dangerous game, Jamie.
I know.
We're here. We gotta deal with this. Yeah, you done said it now.
Guys.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm in Seattle.
Jamie Rivers said,
you know what it'll remind me of?
Outside, it's raining, guys. Hard to believe.
Oh, in Seattle?
Oh, man.
No way.
Right in the water, though. It's pretty.
Jamie, that'll remind me of, and I don't care you were on the show yet, but when Matthew Tkachuk was in the rumor mill, and of course he eventually got traded, some people blamed us.
Because you didn't try hard enough?
No, because we were saying it was going to happen, even though we never said it was going to happen. We just do what we always do, discuss the potential rumors and or reports. But people got real mad at us.
Well, what it would take. And Calgary set the bar high. They basically said, we want everything you have. And St. Louis said no. And then Florida said, sure, take almost everything we have. Didn't work out for Florida.
All right. We'll do our biggest question of the day. More mic drops on the other side of that as well. But again, biggest question of the day next in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
Big things going on over at Urban Chestnut. They've got so many great beers available. I know they're working on a brand new one. I can't let it out of the bag just yet, but I can tell you this. It's going to be awesome. One beer that I know that they have out there right now is Zwickle Light. Love it. It's absolutely fantastic. They've got cans. They've got bottles. Ice cold. There's nothing better. It's a light beer with only 95 calories, 3.7 carbs. It's locally brewed, which is what we love about Urban Chestnut. And I can tell you this, that most light beers, they taste a little bit watery. You're like, nah, it's fine. Not the Zwickle Light. It is so good. It tastes like real beer. Yet again, it's light, so you don't have to worry about feeling bloated and all those things. Let's not forget, it is the unofficial beer of St. Louis hockey. It should be the official beer no matter what, but it is the unofficial beer of St. Louis hockey, and as always, the official beer of the Rivers House. So please check it out there. It's available everywhere right now, including my friends over at Dirt Cheap. So stop in there, pick up a nice case of bottles or a nice case of cans. Love seeing that. So please, if you have anything else too that you're looking to check out, visit urbanchestnut.com. Again, that's urbanchestnut.com. Keep it light and keep it local.
It's time for the Fast Lane's biggest question of the day. Presented by Banner Construction, the experts in James Hardy siding.
508 Your Time Check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers, and Carey Davis. I'm Anthony Stalter. Marshy, what do we got for the biggest question of the day?
All right, there's a lot going on now. It's the season for the NHL trade deadline, and of course we have all the rumors floating around about Colton Parayko, people talking about Robert Thomas, all that fun stuff, Justin Falk, all these different names. Blues might be going into a rebuild, whatever. With all that being said, we know a few years ago when the Cardinals were trying to make moves, John Mozeliak came out as regards, in regards to Nolan Arenado, said Nolan Arenado, basically trading him away as priority 1, 2, and 3. What is priority 1, 2, and 3 for the Blues? In your mind, what does that look like?
What do you think, Carey?
Oh, man, if you're moving on from Colton Parayko, if that's priority number 1, if that's the first chip to fall, priority number 2 got to be to move on from Robert Thomas. And then priority number 3, I don't know that you can, and some people might not agree, might have a disagreement in there, maybe Pavel Buchnevich. I like Jordan Kyrou. I know everybody else hates him.
I don't.
I like Jordan. I think he's a quiet, keeps to himself. He got blamed for Chief being fired, and that wasn't his fault.
No.
Not his alone, at least. Anytime a coach is fired, it's generally because the players aren't playing well enough, more times than not.
Blasphemy. Continue.
But yeah, that to me would probably be, if Parayko is number 1, because he's first on the list, Robert Thomas would be number 2, and then I would say Booch, number 3.
Okay. I view it a little differently, just not even differently, just more, I don't want to put this, generic. I think that
better is what you're trying to say.
No, not better. No, not one bit. No. No, you went into more specifics, so I'm more
okay.
I view the question more general in that if you're the Blues, you got to do what the Cardinals did, which was free yourself up from some of the handcuffs that we were talking about before. So in other words, what were the handcuffs for the Cardinals? Guys like Contreras, if you want to open up a spot for Alec Burleson to be at first base, right? Of course, you also net what you got for Contreras, which is some pitching. Same thing with guys like Sonny Gray. You open up his spot in the rotation. Like, these guys are not going to be part of your future. Trading those guys to create roster flexibility, give yourself some, in the case of the Blues, cap space, in the case of the Cardinals, salary relief. Do so in the process. I think that's really the priority 1, 2, and 3 for me. Get yourself some prospects that are either near the NHL or are being blocked from having a full-time role, much like Broberg and Holloway were for the Oilers. Like, that would be my ideal, but that's not going to be the case for every player that you get, or that you trade, excuse me. So that's the way I would look at it. Those are the priorities. Create some roster flexibility, because you're essentially building a new core. Jamie?
Yeah, so priority 1 for me would be out with the old. And what I mean by that is the past regime. It's time. Like, if you are moving on from Colton Parayko and whatnot, you're slowly getting away from everybody that was on the 2019 roster that won the Stanley Cup. And I think that if you're moving on from Colton Parayko, I think you have to listen to offers on Braden Shen, Justin Falk, Jordan Binnington, Robert Thomas, Jordan Kyrou. You're listening on all those fronts. What will happen is, if you can make some decent trades, which hopefully Army's able to do with Steiner, you'll pick up some draft capital, some young prospects. You'll have a tremendous amount of cap space as well going into the offseason. And then you can kind of rebuild this thing. You really can. You can take some of those draft picks and flip them for maybe some players that you want. You take that cap space and dangle the carrot out there for anybody who's an unrestricted free agent. And maybe St. Louis isn't their first choice, but maybe it is after you throw a couple extra million on the end of that paycheck for them. And so I just think that priorities 1, 2, and 3 are, out with the old, in with the new, and then, look to have this roster competitive in 3 years.
There you go. I agree. 3 years. Yeah, it sounds like a lot. Yeah. All right. Well, no, you're not. Look, Jamie, you're not wrong. You're setting realistic expectations. We just hate you for it. More of your mic drops.
What?
And Light the Lamp next on 101 ESPN.
Anthony, our guy Stewie is the best in the business for several reasons, but for me, it's just how easy he makes things for his clients, his customers, his friends, we'll call it. I remember purchasing a home with Stewie, and look, purchasing a home can be stressful. The amount of paperwork that's required and things that you need, and with my situation being self-employed as well as being an employee of Hubbard, like so many different layers of things, and Stewie made it so easy. Showed up with a packet one day, opened up the packet, said, okay, sign here, 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 and here. Okay, we're good to go. I'll let you know what's going on next. And I was ready to go. Mm-hmm. It was really that easy. And I've seen him operate with other people too. So not just you or I, but I've seen him operate with 101 ESPN listeners. And it's the same thing. He walks you to the finish line. And there's no better feeling than when you're making a major purchase like that than having somebody that's guiding you the whole way.
You know, I'm glad you said it the way you did, Jamie. We were talking about how you've seen other people helped. Well, just yesterday, I mean, if you go back and listen, actually, it was 2 days ago. If you go back and listen to the Gauntlet, no, actually, you know what? It was people picking for Bet the Board. And there was somebody that was a listener of ours from Oregon that also used Stewie. Stewie couldn't help him in terms of, like, you know, what he was doing out in Oregon, but he also gave him the answers that he needed. This is from a listener that joined the show yesterday. So we've seen it for ourselves personally. We've heard from other listeners as well. Stewie can help you. If it's debt consolidation, if it's purchasing a home, if it's just finding out where the rates could be heading in terms of whether or not you get a refi, now's the time to call Stewie. 314-324-4440. Again, 314-324-4440. If you missed the phone number, you can always Google the Bagel Loan.
NMLS number 226715.
Guys, you're talking about a possible fire sale for the Blues, but Monty didn't come here for a fire sale. So what does that mean for the Blues?
That was John who left us a mic drop earlier talking about fire sale. Outstanding point. Now, you know him better than we do, Jamie. What would you say to that?
Yeah, I'd say that it's a great point, although slightly incorrect. And when Monty signed here, which was a 5-year deal, by the way, Doug Armstrong said that Jim Montgomery is the right coach for where we are now, as well as where we want to be in a few years. So Army, believe it or not, like a little backstory here, Army didn't think that team was going to make the playoffs last year. And not because he didn't want them to, not because they weren't trying to, but the plan was kind of to ramp up so that year 3 and year 4 of Jim Montgomery's tenure would be competitive years. And instead they peaked really quickly at the end of last year, got in the playoffs. And then I've told you guys this before, Army in training camp this year told all the media members, he's like, I actually thought that, I had actually earmarked this upcoming season to be our worst year. Lo and behold, he ended up being right, but that's not what he wanted to be right about, because he thought this team had already surpassed that point. So now it is a bit of a step backwards. If they liquidate like we think they are, nothing has been confirmed yet, and then you can go forward. And I think Monty's the right guy. You watch Monty interact with all of the young players and how much they love him and how upbeat he is and how good of a teacher he is. I think he's the perfect guy for a rebuild. And Jim Montgomery loves being a St. Louis Blue. He loved it as a player. He loved it as assistant coach. And that's why he came back to be a head coach. So he's here for the long haul, man. Whether it's a rebuild, a retool, a championship squad, Monty's here for it.
All right, there we go. Well said.
Yeah, I think that's the mindset that they are in, and I think if you're a coach, you do have expectations of having a good team and making the playoffs year after year, but you also go roll with the punches. Where you are is where you are, and you kind of deal with it as it comes. So I think good coaches can manage expectations and kind of figure things out on the fly if things aren't going the way that they need to go. And I think Monty is that type of coach.
All right, that was John. Let's hear from Jeff next, who left us a mic drop.
I'm more than okay with the Blues fire sale if it takes place. I've hearkened this back to the Oshie, Backus, Perron days. They were all good. They were all good individually. We loved them while they were here, but they just didn't get it done, and it needed to get broken up. Maybe that's the same case with Booch, Thomas, and Kyrou.
That's ultimately where I'm at too, guys. And I keep saying this, if the collection of talent doesn't turn into a team, then you don't have a team. You don't have a contender. So if you need to break this thing up to try it again, then that's what you need to do. That doesn't mean you can't be frustrated as a fan.
Right.
But I've heard just a little bit of entitlement when it comes to some Blues fans here. And it's not just Blues fans. It would be Cardinals fans. It would be Steelers fans. It would be Warriors fans. It would be whoever in this spot. Hey, you were supposed to be rebuilding a couple of years ago. Why are you rebuilding again? Because it didn't work. And if you continue to be patient, again, you're going to turn into the Cardinals.
That's what I said earlier about, this team. You can continue to hit your head on the wall. Cool.
Go for it, man.
It's cool. And Jamie, you weren't on earlier when I mentioned this. We talk about the core players, and if you consider the core, Robert Thomas, Jordan Kyrou, Pavel Buchnevich, the guys that they gave those contracts to, Colton Parayko as well. I said that they've tried in a multitude of ways to get the most out of that core group. They signed retread guys, or guys that they were given a fresh start to in Jakub Vrana and Kasperi Kapanen. They brought in Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg, the new fresh blood, the young guys that were outstanding. They brought up some rookie players in Dalibor Dvorsky and Snuggerud to kind of jumpstart, and each time they kind of ended up in the same place that they are now. So at what point do you just say, okay, maybe it's time to go in a different direction? And it feels like if the Colton Parayko trade does go through, it feels like that's the part where they are. It's time to go in a different direction. It hasn't been working.
Yeah, I mean, it's accurate. It really is. And look, I just think that if you make one move, you have to make several. You're not just trading Colton Parayko in this situation. Now, you may only be able to get a good trade for Colton Parayko and you'll have to revisit some things in the off season. But yeah, you got to flip the record here, man. You know, the same music has been playing for 3-4 years now, and you know we came across one good song on the entire album, which was the end of last year, and we're like, whoa, what an album! No, it was a good song,
right?
And,
right.
You know, so.
That's a good way to
Now
put
it's time to buy a new album, get some new songs, baby.
Right.
Just because I birdie 18 doesn't make me a good golfer.
No, it certainly does not, Marsh. It certainly
Makes
does
you
not.
golf again tomorrow, though.
Yeah, it certainly does.
Yeah, brings you right back, doesn't it? All right, more of your mic drops. Here is Zach.
As much as I love the players on this Blues team, I love hockey and I love the city more. If Doug needs to blow it up, I'd rather them blow it up than have another season like this one.
Well said. I agree. Now, not everybody agrees with that sort of take. In fact, we got a comment from Rusty in the Snake Pit that said, so you all want a low-budget team and no chance at all for a playoff spot in over 10 years. Too old for that. First of all, head down to Mentality, 2 different locations, one in Chesterfield and one in South County. You're feeling too old. Why don't you reclaim the old you with Mentality? Second of all, sorry about that age, but again, Mentality will help with that. Second of all, I don't want to see the Blues miss the playoffs with the current group of players that just continue to play the same way.
I agree. Nobody wants to see that, man.
Well, apparently
nobody wants to see.
Rusty's all about it.
You go ahead, Jamie. I'm sorry.
Here's my counter to that is what you currently have ain't working. It ain't working.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're thinking to yourself, I don't want to tear it down. I don't want to wait 10 years. First of all, it ain't going to be 10 years.
Right.
It'd be about 3 or 4 years before you're a real competitive team because some of these young guys have tremendous upside. So let's go there for starters.
Mm-hmm.
But secondly, do you think you're not getting it done now? And this is the current roster. This current roster is injured or inconsistent.
Yeah.
For the last how many years? And so if you just keep rolling it back out there, then you are the Cardinals.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's what people have grown tired of is just rolling the same stuff out there and hoping for a different result. And now that Heimblum has gotten in there and done his thing, it feels at least like Cardinals fans are somewhat optimistic with the direction the team is going in. And I think that with Army and Steiner seemingly looking to do the same thing, because we don't know for sure yet, but seemingly looking to do the same thing, I think you got to trust the process, and at least you're headed in a different direction.
Yeah, some people just don't want to wait for their lives to be over, Anthony. Don't want to wait for our lives to be over.
Something, don't know the lyrics. Is it official? I'm seeing some chatter in the Snake Pit that it could be official.
I've been refreshing my phone.
Okay, well, maybe we'll continue to refresh here. Let's hear one last mic drop. Let's hear from Jim, who can close us out.
Oh, it's a fire sale. Of course we want a fire sale in St. Louis. Look at our top-level talent and compare that to in our own division. We're not beating Colorado on both of our best days. We're not beating Dallas on both of our best days. Not Minnesota with Quinn Hughes. And Utah is coming up quick on everybody's heels. We need to build a team that has the chance of winning a Stanley Cup. Unfortunately, the bones of this one just don't look like they're going to be it, especially with the in-division competition. Build for the future. Fire sale.
Yeah, well done. Like the extra added emphasis too on fire early in his mic drop. Good stuff here. All right, well, we'll continue to look at some updates and things like that. Or, Marshy?
We could pick some players that are on the roster.
Oh, that's right. We still got to do the lamp thing, even though Jamie won. Let's do it.
Don't piss Marshy off.
I must confess you scored first. Well, who was the first person?
Breakaway! Shoots! Score!
We got hockey to learn.
All right, Jamie, you're first.
Jamie, by the way, had Dylan Holloway when Dylan Holloway had a hat trick, so he scored 10 points there. Like a jerk bag.
Yeah, but guys, it's the most dangerous lead in hockey. Okay, let's go here.
10-goal lead?
Yeah, well, it's more than 10, Carey, but that's okay.
Like
You just can't get complacent, you know? Get that knife and jam it in there and twist it. So, okay, let's do this. Give me Jimmy Snuggerud.
Okay.
Give me Jordan Kyrou.
Give me... Look at you. You looked right at me, too. I felt your presence when you said that, and then when I looked up after texting my guy, Waterboy here back, yeah, all of a sudden, you.
Yeah. Huh. What do I want to choose? Give me Dvorsky.
Jamie, who'd you take?
Snuggie.
All right, give me Holloway.
Can't do it again, can he?
Can't get fooled again. All right. It's Fast on 101 ESPN. We have Bet the Board next.
All right, it's that time of the year where a lot of the pesky critters are coming out of the woodwork. That means ants, that means spiders, that means moles. I mean, pretty much anything in your yard that you don't want there is about to come out in a hurry. That's why I go with Amco Ranger. They are the best in the business. They've been in business for over 60 years, serving the St. Louis area. They get A+ BBB rated business, with all the employees being well-trained, licensed, background checked, all of that stuff. And was talking to them the other day just about moles in the back of my yard, as well as the ants around the pool. They're going to come out. They're going to start service right now because they believe that it is a year-long thing. It's not just seasonal, and that's why they get great results. And they also, they deliver the best customer service out there. If you're not 100% satisfied with the work, they're going to make it right. They're locally owned, locally run. They service the St. Louis metropolitan area as well as St. Charles and other counties. So please give them a call. You won't be sorry. You can visit them online as well. But they are the best in the business. That's Amco Ranger. They're my friends. They need to be your friends. That's Amco.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Universal Windows Direct. There is a lot of chatter happening today about certain players going elsewhere in the NHL. Colton Parayko being one of those players. Jeremy Rutherford put together an article on The Athletic. The Blues agreed to trade Colton Parayko to the Sabres pending Parayko's approval. Darren Dreger was the one to bring that up on X, and we talked about it all day long. If you missed any of those conversations, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's 101 ESPN mobile app. Just head to the podcast page, and you'll find all of our shows there, and it's all brought to you by the Schaefer Door Company. Blues take on the Seattle Kraken tonight. You can listen to that game right here on 101 ESPN. Pregame starts at 8. Puck drop is at 9. We are going to bet the board coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and this Sports Center update is brought to you by Universal Windows Direct.
All right, time to play Bet the Board here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Marsh, how did we do last night?
Well, everybody did pretty well, except for one man who went with basketball. College basketball, that is. How was that?
Scumbags.
What happened?
Absolute scumbags.
Jamie, they were trying to have Bet the Board at 2:45 today.
What?
Wow.
I talked them out of it.
Wow.
Carey, I've smelled some pretty crappy things in my life, but nothing worse than your crappy smell right now saying that. Yeah.
As you can imagine, Jamie, as you can imagine, the real culprit was CD, who wanted to have Bet the Board at 2:15.
And we should have had it as well.
And I said no.
Thank you, Anthony.
Swell
You're
fellow.
welcome.
I don't know what Carey says about you when you're gone. I think you're a great guy.
There you go. See? You should have done it. I tried to tell you. Don't listen
It's
to
you,
me.
Carey. You're the common denominator.
You're not wrong, Jamie.
Anyways, all right, what do we got? Who's in the lead here?
I'm actually in the lead with
Look
2
at
points.
you.
Yeah.
Wait, don't I have 2?
Do you?
Yeah, I've got 1.
No, because NC State. Oh, I marked that red.
Yeah, he's got
joking
2.
around yesterday about that. You do have 2 points, Anthony.
Thank you, Marcia.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate
Why don't
your
you
honesty.
go first, since I almost screwed you over?
Okay, I appreciate that greatly. Give me Villanova minus 135 on the money line against DePaul. Nova's got no business, and I mean no business, being that low of a favorite.
All right. I'm going to the NHL. And yesterday I took the Buffalo Sabres to beat Vegas because Vegas apparently hasn't played anybody.
In ever?
Well, no, they played people. They just haven't won a ton of games against teams that are actually playoff teams. So I'm going to go back to the well. I'm going to take the Detroit Red Wings tonight on the money line against Vegas. Detroit is at home, minus 135. Red Wings on the money line.
There you go.
I will take the Boston Celtics at minus 5.5 on the alt line versus the Charlotte Hornets.
Nice. Okay. Jamie.
Give me the over in the first period. Toronto Maple Leafs at New Jersey Devils. 1.5 is the number. I'm going over. It's minus 125.
Okay. There you have it. All right. Some big news today here in St. Louis, as Darren Dreger was the first to report that Colton Parayko could be on the move, could be dealt to the Buffalo Sabres, first-round pick, and a player returning for the Blues, Radim Murtka. And Jamie, do you want to go ahead and reiterate what you were hearing on Radim? I think I call him Radim Murtka.
Oh, Murdy? Yeah. So my date of what? What do you got a name for this guy? It's either Murdy or Mertz. What do you want to like better? Mertz?
I kind of like Myrtle, or whatever you called him the first time.
Murdy?
Murdy.
We go Mertzy. Hey, Mertzy.
Mertzy.
Old Murdy Bird.
Marty.
Oh, the
Bird.
Marty
there you
Bird.
go.
I
Marty
like that,
Bird.
yeah.
Jason
Murdy.
Bateman.
There we go.
Marty Bird.
Marty Bird.
He just got turned into Birdie. All right, so my guy Birdie, according to
Smitty.
my sources, Smitty's cousin, he a big guy, 6'6". He's currently 220. He's only, I think, 19, maybe 20 years old. It's a huge man, and I've been watching some video here while we've been on this show, and he moves very well. He gets up the ice very well, likes to handle the puck, and some of the people are comparing him to Moritz Seider with the Detroit Red Wings. Big right-handed shot defenseman, plays all situations. A hell of a player. So if he turns into that, then this will be a fantastic trade for the Blues.
There you have it.
If it happens.
If it happens.
Yeah, so what if it doesn't happen? Like,
Parayko will be in the lineup next game.
So
Colton Parayko will be playing against the San Jose Sharks on Friday night.
What do we think about all of this if this all doesn't go through?
Then you got to lean on the fact that Parayko's a professional. He made a decision that benefited himself, and look, he was given that no trade clause for a reason. He earned it. He asked for it. He got it. It's completely up to him. Now, if he does stay, might be a little awkward, but again, I think Colton Parayko is a total professional, and he'll understand that where the Blues are at right now, and you move on.
Yeah, he earned the right in his contract, and the team gave him a no trade clause.
Right.
Like, if you didn't want to give him the no trade clause, you wouldn't have given it to him.
Right.
So if Colton Parayko just decides that, you know what, I'm a part of this rebuild, I want to be a St. Louis Blue for potentially the rest of my career, then he's earned that right. And then at that point, Doug and Steiner just have to pivot and then maybe look to move somebody else. Let's just say they're looking to move Justin Falk. Then they start kicking the tires on other avenues. That's just the bottom line. I mean, Army was a damn pro about it when Torrey Krug said, no, go spit. I ain't waiting my no trade. What did Army do? Said, no problem, whatever. It didn't work out because Krug obviously got hurt, and that's been very unfortunate for the player. And obviously unfortunate for the team because they couldn't make the trade and whatnot. But nobody was, to my knowledge, nobody was angry behind closed doors that the player decided to say no to it.
Right. Yeah. All right. Moving forward here, we'll wrap up the show. Next, what we learned, 3 stars of the day, things like that. We'll wrap things up next on 101 ESPN. If your garage has been talking to you, I mean, any noise at all, something might be going on. If you heard a big noise like a spring breaking, well, then you got to call my friends at Don's Garage Door. They do such a great job. They're local here, St. Louis team. They're made up of technicians who live and work right here in St. Louis. And I had an opportunity to meet with the manager of Don's Garage Doors, and he was talking about the process, the training process for his service technicians. And it's basically like a school they had to go through in order to get service to work at Don's Garage Doors. Bottom line is, don't do any sort of garage door repairs yourself. That is one of the biggest and heaviest pieces of equipment in your entire home. Hundreds of pounds when it comes to the garage door, so you don't want to be doing a repair and have something go wrong. Let Don's Garage Door handle it. They keep things simple. They show up. They do it right. They stand behind their work. And if you call by 10 a.m., you can get same-day service or schedule the day that works best for you. If they can't make it happen, if Don's Garage Door can't make it happen, when it comes to if you call at 10 a.m. for the same-day service, you get $300 towards your repair or your replacement. And right now, you could save $100 on a spring replacement, save $500 on a brand new garage door, or just take advantage of the $29.95 tune-up special that they have going on right now. Give them a call, 866-4 Don's Door, or give them a check online at donsgaragedoors.com.
The Johnny Londoff family has been providing the best automotive prices and award-winning service in St. Louis for close to 85 years. And I myself have been a customer for over 25 years. My fiance is a customer. My children are customers. And anybody I talk to, I guide them over to Londoff Chevrolet. They've got 2 great locations now. The original one in Florissant, Missouri, as well as the Londoff Autoplex right out there in St. Peter's. Jim Saffo running that one. And I can tell you this, both locations have great inventory, whether it's brand new vehicles or pre-owned vehicles. And both locations have the customary great customer service that the Londoff family has been providing for almost 85 years. So please get out to either location. Tell them Jamie Rivers sent you in. They love hearing that. And if you can't get there in person, you please get there online. Visit Londoff.com or LondoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Welcome back to the Fast Lane. I'm Carey Davis, joined by Andrew Marsh. Anthony had to go pick up the kiddos for practice, and Jamie had to go do that hockey. If you missed anything from today's show, you can download the podcast, available at 101ESPN.com or via the 101 app, brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Center. All podcasts brought to you by Shaver Door Company. Time to find out what we learned. Marshy, what did you learn today?
I mentioned it during the show, but I want to go back to something that I learned. I think it was like the second segment of the day, or maybe whatever it was. But the customer is always right in matters of taste. I did not add that last part. The text line let me know.
They lit you up a little bit.
They let me know what the full saying was, so I genuinely learned that today. A matter of taste.
I learned that maybe everybody around the country doesn't view the Cardinals as we do, seeing how Colin Cowherd called them the credit cards.
Yeah.
That was rough, man.
He didn't say, like, the pitiful Pirates.
Yeah, the muddy Marlins, or the woeful White Sox.
Yeah.
Yeah, the credit Cardinals.
It was the only team.
Damn it, Colin. That's rough, brother.
Oh, man.
Marsha, we got any criticisms or compliments? I know you just had a criticism because people want us to say this is a show about stats and facts, so we have to be factual in everything that we say, allegedly. Yeah. It's tough.
Let's go to Curb Stomp here. Another banger of a show, boys. You all are the only bright spot for St. Louis sports right now.
Damn it. Thank you. But I think that was a bit of a crap sandwich for St. Louis sports. No?
Yeah, I think so. I feel like we're in a terrible time right now. We're in an absolute awful time to be a St. Louis sports fan. The only saving grace are the 3 local basketball teams that I hope are all in the NCAA tournament here in a few weeks.
That'd be awesome.
Things are looking up. But in terms of the Blues, not great. Cardinals, not great, but we'll see. City SC, not great.
Mark, okay.
We do have the Battlehawks,
We do have the
though.
Battle.
We don't really know what's going to happen there, but we're optimistic.
Here we are. Do you feel better? Like, I know you are. I envision you as the pulse, like the heartbeat of the fans of St. Louis. Like, I think
Is that
that's
my
what
new
you're-
nickname?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
Pulse?
the pulse. You give us a real gauge of how St. Louis fans are feeling. Now, I'm going to ask you, and you're speaking for all St. Louis fans.
No, I don't wanna do that.
All Blues fans, all Cardinal fans. Are you okay with knowing if Colton Parayko, the trade goes through, and maybe the Blues are trading some other parts off, some other pieces, some other really good players? Are you okay with now knowing that maybe the rebuild is back in effect, and I'm okay knowing that where we are and where we're going to be in the next 2 to 3 years? Are you okay with that? Are you still kind of pissed off about not finishing the playoffs in the right way?
Yes, I am upset that did not go the way that we hoped it would go. I think where my frustration lies is both teams, both major teams, Blues, Cardinals, are going through it at the same time. I think it would be different if the Cardinals were going through it, because then fans, including myself, could look towards the Blues as a sense of hope. They're the beacon of hope for this city in terms of sports. And we at least we have the Blues. Now it's at least we have, I don't know. You know, I have no clue what to lean back on. That's why I mentioned the basketball teams.
Yeah, when we got Gator talking about the Illinois, Mizzou, and SLU are all in a tailspin. You keep Illinois out of your mouth. We just had a big win last night versus Oregon. We're good. We're good over here, bro.
Well, okay, you say they're in a tailspin. I look at it, at least they're in the conversation.
I agree. Yeah.
The Cardinals and Blues are not even in the conversation.
They're in a conversation.
And
just
not a good one.
Not the conversations you want them in. Yeah, I think it feels like for the last few years, at some point mid-July, early August, he said, well, at least Blues season is around the corner. And then over the last few years, at some point in February, he said, well, at least Cardinal season around the corner. And in both those scenarios, when the opposing season was around the corner and it finally got there, you were just like, all right, well, this isn't how I expected that to go.
I did not expect in September or October, if you would have told my October self that I would be looking forward to Cardinals baseball in March and not being so invested in Blues hockey at this time, I would have called my October self crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm genuinely looking forward to Cardinals baseball now, despite them not being a true contender.
I was about to ask, even though they are going to be. Did you see that message I sent to the group earlier, where the guy was sitting at the table making his 4th trip to the concession stand? You didn't see that one? I want you to look at it when you get a chance. When we get out of here, you check that one out. Marshall, we got our 3 stars for the day?
Yeah, let's do 3 stars. 3 stars.
It's time for the Fast Lane's 3 stars of the day, presented by Circus Sports. No bet fees ever with the world's largest sports book, now at your fingertips in Illinois and Missouri.
I'm not going to lie, it was pretty tough to come up with some 3 stars today. So our 3rd star of the day goes out to the word fire sale.
Fire sale, huh?
The phrase.
I guess, yeah. Okay, sort of.
I don't like when someone in the national media craps all over my favorite team. Only I can do that.
Yeah.
2nd star goes to the cruddy Cardinals.
Not so cruddy Cardinals.
Yeah.
To you, Colin Cowherd. You know what I mean? What are we doing?
You get my favorite team out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Only I can talk.
Only here, you know?
And that's what we'll do.
And we will do that.
We will do that.
We will do that at some point.
If it's deserved, of course.
Yeah.
Which it has been over the last X amount of years.
I think they're going to play well this year, man. They're going to play hard, if nothing else.
I hope so. Our 1st star of the day, this one was not hard to figure out. It goes out to our listeners. A lot of mic drops today. We didn't get to all of them, but we do appreciate your input on our St. Louis Blues and the direction they're going in. So we give the first star to the listeners.
Yeah. Thank you. Good job today. Good job with the mic drops. Good job with the text. We appreciate you all for listening every single day and choosing us to get your information, man, your sports info from. We work hard at this, and we love you all listening. It is I don't know what the next couple of days are going to hold, Marshy.
Oh, man, they're going to be
we got a couple of days left before the trade deadline, before the NHL trade deadline actually hits. Obviously, Colton Parayko potentially on the move, still waiting for that 100% confirmation whether or not he decided to waive his no-trade clause. But if all things are seeming in the direction that they are, he's potentially on the move. And, man, he was one name that we did not expect.
Right.
So
we could have like 4 more names within the next 2 days.
In the next 48 hours, it could be absolutely crazy around here with the players that are going out and some players and picks that are coming in. But in Army, you trust. In Army, I trust. In Army, we trust. You have to believe that the man that put together the lone Stanley Cup champ for this organization is going to be able to find a way to get it done again. So believe in it, man. You got to make some things right. It's been a rough few years, minus 12 games, 15 games, 20 games. What was that game? What was that win streak?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a 12-game win streak. You count the 3 wins in the first round, which looked pretty fun.
15 games worth.
15 games.
Yeah. Other than that, Marsh, it's been some rough hockey to watch, brother. It
hasn't been fun.
It has not. But tonight, you can watch some hockey if you like. You can check us out. Pre-game will start here at 8 p.m. The puck will drop at 9 p.m. You can catch Joey and Curbs, hear them talk about the Blues as they take on the Kraken in Seattle. Tonight should be a great opportunity to see what the Blues got rolling, see if they can get some things going. We will be back tomorrow and have a great time with you all. For Carey Davis, for Andrew Marsh, for Jamie Rivers, for Anthony Stalter, this is The Fast Lane. We will see you tomorrow. Peace.